Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yesterday.
Will Austin Hedges get a hit tonight? You guys hate Austin Hedges.
You know, I almost went good bet just because I knew I would have been the only one to do it, and I'm trying to make up ground.
I thought about it too.
But then I thought, coming off my 3-0, I don't want to lose.
If it would have been Reach's base, I feel like I would have gone with it.
Yeah,
probably.
then you got
but
a chance
him actually making contact and whatnot, that's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
A few moments later.
Left field, deep, down the line it goes! It is gone! A home run! Austin Hedges with a 3-run homer here in the third inning. And that will make it a 6-2 Guardians lead. It's his 4th home run of the year, and that's the way to snap out of an 0 for 13.
I should have taken it. I was so close to saying he's going to get a hit.
Let me speak for the panel here, and say, I'm going to look at the camera right here. You're welcome. You're welcome, Austin Hedges. You're welcome, Guardians. If it wasn't for us, in particular me, but us in general, telling Austin Hedges how bad he was, he wouldn't actually come through with that big home run. We, and me specifically, because it's all about me.
I like Austin Hedges.
Full credit.
I like Austin Hedges.
I've been saying to bench him for late Luke
I don't
Bailey.
like the player. I like the person. He's a great guy, and the clubhouse loves him.
That man,
he's a good clubhouse guy.
That man looked like he had hit a ball in the gap, and he was going for 2.
Well, no, but
he was stunned there.
In fairness to him, though, it rattled off the rail.
No.
Right there in home run porch. So it barely cleared the bar.
It was kind of like where Rajay Davis's home run went.
What was funny, though, in the dugout after he hit the home run, he was on camera and he was very demonstrative, and he was like, I got none of that ball. Yeah. Like, he didn't even think he hit it well. And it was a home run. I think his 4th of the year. Yeah. And you said every month he hits a home run.
Yeah, he's on pace for, 7 this year, right?
He's on pace for 12.
Hey, some people get 9.
So welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jay Crawford, G. Bush, Tyvis Paul, Adam the Bull. We've got a very full plate. We do. And I want to start by diving right into the big news yesterday was a 23rd woman now has come forward and is suing Deshaun Watson, the Browns quarterback, for inappropriate behavior. She claims that she had 3 massage sessions with Deshaun Watson. Originally, she said she decided she wasn't going to join the suit, but she watched the HBO feature on Real Sports last week, and now Tony Busby has added her as a client, the 23rd. Thoughts? But let's start here. Does this change anything?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I'll tell you, I'll be honest, because we keep it real here. The first thing I thought when I heard this story was like, ugh. Another one we got to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Maybe it's a little cold. I'm just sharing my honest feelings. But no, it doesn't change anything. I mean, if you chose to believe Deshaun Watson to this point, then you're still choosing to believe him. Another one to the group is not going to change.
Tyvis, nothing for you?
I just think it's the timing of it was the one that kind of make it kind of shaky to me. I mean, you had to watch it.
Do you have a conspiracy theory? Why now?
You just had to watch an HBO special. Like, it's been going on. Like, it's been in the news. It's been the main topic of discussion all these months. Like, why would an HBO special make you want to come out?
That's what put you over the top.
Yeah, like, that makes no sense to me.
G. Bush?
Yeah,
I have to watch these things, so I don't want to seem insensitive to, all parties involved. But, if you – it's like, you ever have a recall on your car, right? And they give you that recall. Mm-hmm. And they be like, hey, we have had some problems with your 2018 Nissan Rogue. Mm. If it's doing A, B, C, or D, bring it back to the station, right? In your mind, you'd be like, hold on, maybe I do got something wrong with this Nissan Rogue. Matter of fact, it was jerking a little bit on the road, and the tire pressure is out. I'm going to take it back over there. If you knew something was really up, I'd have took it back. I ain't gonna wait to the recall. I gotta go right over there to the station and get it fixed myself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when it's there and they advertise it, it gives you an opportunity to be like, well, maybe there is and maybe there isn't. and then you finally say, okay, well, I'll join. I'll be part of the list. And for me, I just, not dismissing her. I guess she's going to have to go to trial just like the rest of them. But I struggle with the fact that she thought about it, wasn't going to do it, then saw it, and then now she's doing it.
Here's what I'll say to that, though. And I agree with you. But, sometimes a woman or anybody, but generally women, could go through something like this, right? And then maybe decide, well, I want to make sure he doesn't do this to other women, or he should go to jail for what he did. However, none of that's going to happen here. This is just a lawsuit for money. So that's what makes me suspicious.
Yeah.
If she, after all this time, said, he should go to jail for what he did with me, I'm going to the police, and I want to have him held accountable, then I would say, okay, I get that. But if the only thing you've decided after all this time is, now I want to go after some money, that makes me suspicious.
I think every time we discuss this, it's important that we throw this out there. I know that they are the facts, and most everyone watching this is probably aware of what the facts are. But just in the general fairness to all parties involved, we do need to mention that Deshaun Watson did face 2 Texas grand juries.
Yes.
Both grand juries did not hand up charges. There would be no indictment. So in terms of criminal,
right,
as much as we know today, he's been cleared of any criminal wrongdoing. There will not be charges that are brought.
But in theory, this woman could have gone to the police.
In theory, she did, and we don't know that she did not.
That's true. We don't know that.
And we also don't know whether or not the grand jury heard from this latest accuser. I will say, I got an interesting text shortly after this news broke yesterday, and the text was, and again, we don't know what happened. We don't.
That's correct.
But the text was from someone who said the latest accuser would have done herself a favor had she scrubbed her Instagram page. Now, I want to be very clear. Just because someone posts pictures on a public site, you can read into those pictures or not. But in the court of public opinion where this is being tried, just as a lot of people are hearing there are 23 accusers against Deshaun Watson saying he must be guilty, there's 23, there will also be people who look at her Instagram page and unfairly, as it may be, may decide that she's not a credible person because of things she's put on her page.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that's true. I believe that she has a story to tell. She needs to be listened to. This is where it becomes problematic for Deshaun Watson, in my view. Does it change anything? I think it does. It changes the timeline. Because last week at the spring owners meeting in Atlanta, we heard Roger Goodell say that he believes that the investigation is nearing a finish, and that he still doesn't know what the timetable is going to be for any discipline, should discipline be handed down. Here's what he had to say. He gave these comments to Cleveland.com. I think where it becomes problematic now for Deshaun Watson is, if you're the NFL, is there going to be a 24th? Is there going to be a 25th? And can you wrap up your investigation without talking to the 23rd? So I think this might be a strategy on behalf of Tony Busby, the lawyer who's representing all the women.
Right.
I don't think this is the last one. I think part of his strategy is to slow drip this out, keep it in the news cycle, and the longer the punishment hangs over Deshaun Watson, the more likely Busby believes, I think, that he's more likely to settle.
That's
because,
true. I think you're right.
And I think that's the game here.
Yes.
I think Busby is playing chicken with Harden, who is Watson's lawyer.
Right.
Are you going to settle? No. Here's another log on the fire.
But will the
Are you
NFL
ready to settle yet? Here's another log on the fire.
Will the NFL play into this game?
I don't know. That's an interesting question, Adam. Do you think they will?
I don't.
How can they?
I
But
don't
see,
either.
you don't either. But see, here's what my concern is. If I'm Deshaun Watson and the Browns, my concern is I don't think they will either. But my concern is, how do you hand out a punishment and complete your investigation when there's a new accuser that you haven't spoken with? I don't know how they do that.
I mean, I guess you could speak to her quickly, but ultimately, if the league finds the people they did speak to, and we don't know they spoke to every single person, do we?
We don't know what they've done in their investigation.
So at this point, they've done a year-plus investigation. I assume they've spoken with at least some of the parties.
I would certainly hope so, Adam.
I don't know that speaking to one more woman at this point is going to matter.
But what if she's the one that truly is credible, that truly was?
And maybe they have spoken to her already. Maybe behind the scenes they have spoken to this. I don't know. You could be right. I just think the league has been handling this investigation thoroughly, we would assume, for 13, 14 months.
Right.
More than that at this point. I don't know that one more woman saying this is going to change their investigation. I don't buy it.
Does it change to you? Because these guys have weighed in on it. Does a 23rd woman who is not interviewed by the NFL, is that a problem in your view?
Well, when you look at, it all depends on what you say is interview. Like if the material items in the case don't change, right? The pattern behavior is more of the thing that I think the NFL is looking at.
So if they've already established that there has been a behavior of misconduct,
yes,
they don't need a 23rd. They're ready to go.
So
that's interesting.
I assume they're going to suspend him already. So I don't. Yeah.
And so if you got 23 or 30, right? Now they already know if the preliminary is we're going to add more people. They have lawyers. The lawyers they talk to the NFL in layman's terms. They say, look, here's what the defense strategy is. Here's what the prosecutor's strategy is. They're going to keep continuing to bring people out. There may be other people that trickle down. However, the first people that they put out front and the people that are representing this thing, those are the faces, right? Mm-hmm. The people after this, okay, they would have, if they were really their star witnesses, they would have been on the HBO special, right?
So let me ask you this then. Does it matter to the league or to you if there's 3 women that they decide were sexually harassed or if there were 20?
No. So say, for instance, like this. If say, for instance, I'm a county official and I get caught for embezzling money, right? If I embezzled somewhere between $750,000 or $1 million, maybe the term, maybe what I really did was $850, but they know it's somewhere in that ballpark figure. When they get ready to sentence me, they're going to say, well, you got caught for embezzling money.
You still did something wrong.
You still did something wrong. It doesn't matter if you did $750 or $850. We know it's a roundabout figure. We are punishing you based on what the allegations are, which we know are to be true, right?
I ultimately think there's a harsher punishment because there's so many, but I don't think whether there's 10, 20, or 30 ultimately matters. I think 1 versus 22 matters, I think.
I kind of just think that if they're going to hand out a punishment, they kind of already got the games decided on what they're going to do.
Right. I agree with that.
It doesn't matter if 10 more people come out, they sticking with that.
Let's play Rusty Harden or Deshaun Watson for a second, okay? And I'll start this little role play game. What would I do today? Because I think right now we're seeing this is being waged in the media, no question. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that the timing of this was planned. We're at OTAs again today, and he throws that out there. I think maybe a 24th might come in a couple of weeks, maybe when training camp starts, another one. To get in front of that, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I do speak to the media, and I speak to the media today.
He should have done it last week.
He should have. Yeah. We talked about that, but they have OTAs today. There'll be player availability afterwards. What I would say if I was Deshaun Watson, I would look straight into the camera, and I would say, I'm going to repeat one more time what I said during my opening news conference. In my mind, I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I maintain my complete and total innocence. And if this is some sort of game where you're trying to pressure me into some sort of settlement, I am in this for the long haul. Yeah. Because I believe in my innocence.
That's right.
And I will see all of my accusers, 22, 23, 30, I will see all of them in court when these cases come up, and I look forward to clearing my good name and getting back my reputation.
Jay,
that's what I would do.
If I'm innocent, if I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm truly innocent, there is nothing and no pressure that would ever get me to give up and settle.
So how would you handle it today?
I tell you what, the way he operates, he gives that feeling like he's completely innocent.
And I've heard a lot of people say, sorry, but I've heard a lot of people say, well, this is hanging over him. He might be stressed out about it or whatever.
I don't see it.
I don't see that true.
We don't see it, but it has to be, Adam.
But you know what? If I were innocent and then I took a plea, which in a way is admitting guilt, you may legally it's not, but it is.
Sure.
People will take it that way. That would cause me more pressure. I'd feel that would stress me out more to accept guilt for something I didn't do than it would be to have this hanging in my innocence.
And I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people, like celebrities in general, if they get accused of something, instead of just dragging it on, and even though they completely are innocent, they just take the plea deal just so they can get rid of it.
Never would.
I think he's doing the right thing by keep fighting it.
What would you do today?
Nothing.
Exactly what you said. I would come out at OTAs and speak and say I'm completely
100%.
innocent.
No.
I don't care how many accusers it is.
You want to take back the news cycle, G. You do.
Here's what I'm going to do. If we're going to be all the way honest, I'm going to give you the blueprint. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm just gonna give it to you.
Uh-oh.
Here's the blueprint. Let's be honest. The master at this is one Donald J. Trump. You say what you want about the man. He is a master politician when it comes to allegations. He got through a presidency. And you know what he always says? I'll double down. I ain't do nothing. It could be allegations against hush money? Nope. Allegations against improper dealings with other nope. Embezzling funds? Nope. Guess what Trump does? He goes right. He continues to do what he says. He says the same thing. Witch hunt. Keep it moving. And guess what? You never give oxygen to a fire. Why would I come out as Deshaun Watson and look like I'm pressed about the 23rd one when people already look like, ooh, this kind of suspect? See the timeline. I looked at her Instagram. You know what Deshaun Watson should do? He should keep throwing the football, act like nothing is happening. And the reality is, you tell them, I'm here for the long game.
Yeah, but
you need the money.
But, G, your example of Trump is he does come out there all the time and proclaim his
Well,
innocence.
there's a difference between a politician
Sure.
and a politician is elected by the people and has a duty to talk to the people. And where Deshaun Watson can hide behind the fact that I just don't want to talk.
I'm going to hide behind my lawyer, and my lawyer is going to say, we are not moved. When you look like you ain't moved.
Well, that's the same message that Ty and I are saying.
Yeah. Hey, I'm
If you come up to with straight confidence and say, and you repeat exactly what you said to begin with,
I'm not even getting on the podium. I'm gonna act like this. Like
he's got to do a media session anyway. That's part of it.
And you know what?
it's going to come a time where it's going to happen.
But does he move? I'm gonna do it on my time. You're not gonna come out tomorrow and make me move.
No, but at some point, the
Get out in
national
front of
media
it.
is going to descend on Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
Right now, that date is likely the start of training camp.
There it is.
And so you get in front of that media circus today when there's not a media circus over there, and you come to the mic and you say, I am going to repeat what I said during my introductory news conference. And then that is the last comment I am making on this topic. I'm here to play football. And I'm here to fulfill this city's dream of making it to and winning a Super Bowl. That is my primary focus. So I am going to make my last statement on this issue right now, today. And that's a preemptive to the national media. Don't come, scurrying to Cleveland, hoping to dig up scandal and interviews and what really happened. He's putting it out there. I'm talking about it today.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And most of the local media members down deep do not want to ask him any more questions about this, but they feel like they have to. So if he comes out and says, hey, you don't need to ask me about it. Here's the deal. This one doesn't matter either. I didn't do any of this.
I think it's proactive to do it.
If he proactively does it, they'll get the football questions.
I agree with you, too, because what they mostly want to talk about
is football.
Yes.
I mean, Big Nuggets, you got something. What you got, me, Mikey?
Yeah, we actually just found a statement from Rusty Hard. And Jay, you mentioned this earlier, but I got the full statement here. It's kind of long, so bear with me. But quote, we are aware that more than a year ago she had other lawyers representing her, and they ultimately terminated the representation. This plaintiff has a long vendetta against Deshaun since she jealously and angrishly published Deshaun's personal data on social media in November 2020. In filing her lawsuit now, she was obviously not influenced by recent developments. We are not surprised Mr. Busby was willing to say just about anything to get more publicity. He knows the NFL continues to investigate these cases, and this is a transparent attempt to further punish the man she sees as a potential payday, end quote.
That's pretty strong.
That is very strong.
That's pretty strong. And we're living in a time now where, there was a saying during the height of the Me Too movement that believe all women. I think whenever you use the word all, I think you got to be real careful. Yeah. Because there is, and Tyvis, you can speak to this because you've seen it up close. And it's kind of made me cynical over the years because I've covered professional athletes for so long and I've seen it up close. And when I first saw how this whole game operates, it was a little jarring to me to think that people can have ulterior motives. But professional athletes are targets.
Yes.
I am by no means am I saying that all professional athletes are angels and innocent of everything.
No, not at all.
All is a bad word to use.
Yeah.
But when you say believe all women, I want to say hear all women.
Yeah.
Hear them.
Yes.
Listen to them. Hear what they have to say. When you go so far as to say all men should be believed or all men should be disbelieved and all women should be believed, whenever you use that word all, you're painting with not a wide brush, a totally exclusive brush, and that's dangerous.
Super fact.
Hear all women. Hear what this woman has to say. Weigh her testimony and her story against all the information that you have, but also part of this, you have to hear the man too. You have to hear Deshaun's rebuttals to each of these individually, and that's what we eventually get to in court. I said this early on, and I think I'll stand by this. Neither side wants this to see the light of day in a courtroom. Deshaun doesn't, and I don't think the women do either, because their character, fairly or not, will be assailed in a court of law.
And I think people can attest to this. You know, during the same time with the Me Too movement, there was also Black Lives Matter movement. There was also police brutality. And usually, as a black man, you see people, and some people say, I hate all cops. They out to get me. But here's the thing. I done been in situations where the cops done gave me a solid. They did me a say. He said, yo, I could, low key, I could, your driver's license is suspended right now. You know what I'm saying? So we could really impound your car and take you away and do this. But I'm gonna give you a pass. And it wasn't like I was on the radio. This before any of that.
Sure.
So it sometimes you can't say all.
Yes.
And that's not the point.
I don't think you can ever say
ever.
That's just very dangerous.
We went so far where we wasn't even hearing women. People would come and they would tell their allegations. We weren't even hearing it.
Right.
And then it moved to all the way to the other side where we got to believe every woman. Now, it's all about the merit of the conversation in a case-to-case situation. And I think we as humans or adults should be have a better attention span to understand that and be able to dig through some of that.
We have no attention span. It goes away in 2 seconds.
Not anymore. We don't. And like the news cycle, this will churn and burn and be gone in 2 days. But I do think that, and I don't know that Deshaun's going to do that. I still think it's a long shot that he will. We probably won't hear from him today. I'm just saying, if it were my reputation, there's no way I would be able to sit back and let these people throw darts at my reputation and just hands up and look at it.
I still think it's reasonable to say that most people that accuse somebody of sexual inappropriate behavior are usually telling the truth. Obviously, all is stupid in any situation.
Yeah, and that's my point. All you can't, and I don't even know how do you even put a percentage on that? How do you know what percentage of them are truthful? I do know. I've seen with my own eyes many instances where professional athletes are just standing there and they're like fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to really be careful.
We've seen situations where professional athletes get away with things.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to discourage women who are taken advantage of or harassed.
Am I right in saying that every pro athlete has some kind of story where they were targeted by someone? Or am I over-exaggerating that?
No, you might be 100% correct.
Because I've had pro athletes swear to me, you'll be hard-pressed to find a pro athlete.
It like firsthand, and I'm just like, it's...
And it doesn't mean that all of these situations are that. That's why I say every situation has to be looked at on its own, and that's what the court is for. But I don't think either of these lawyers wants this to go to a courtroom.
Yeah,
I don't.
If I was Deshaun, I would go with the famous Drake quote. He said, "Why let the story run if it's false?"
Yeah.
Well, a wise man once said, "Nothing at all."
That's exactly true. I mean, you can look at it so many different ways. It'll be fascinating to see what he does moving forward. All right, next up, sports betting, guys. We were so hopeful that this was going to become a thing before football season.
Yeah.
Because it became a law many months ago.
Yeah.
And the way the law was written is it has to be enacted by January 1st, 2023. But this was a year ago, or this was half a year ago.
Yeah.
So I think the thinking was, okay, the major hurdle has been cleared. Now it's going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen before football season, and we can now tell you that it's going to happen at the last possible date as is written by the law. January 1st, 2023 is when sports betting becomes legal in the state of Ohio. And I got to say, it's somewhat stunning to me because Michigan, our neighbor to the north, first of all of the states around Ohio have already done something to legalize.
Some for a number of years.
Yeah, some for a long time. Michigan legalized sports betting January 1 of 2021. So it's been about 18 months. They've raised, guys, $300 million in tax revenue from Sportsbook for the state of Michigan. $300 million. So if you look at the fact that Ohio could have started gambling the first of this year, but now won't go in place until the first of next year.
Yeah.
If you just use Michigan as a model, similar size state, that's a $200 million shortfall for Ohio.
We got nitwits in power in our state house and state representatives.
Clearly.
Those who are in power there, they're idiots. They've already been, many of them, busted for corruption. For
some of them,
bribes.
Not many. Some.
Some of them.
Not all.
But
they're all. We got to be careful with these words.
They're all in the power there. We have an illegal state map right now. The gerrymandering out of control. The state map's illegal. It got shot down by the state Supreme Court, and we still have to vote on it based on an illegal map. It's disgraceful. What's going on? And the fact that gambling, we're costing millions of. What did you say the money was in Michigan?
$200 million for 1 year.
Crazy.
They've had it for a year and a half. They've raised $300 million.
This should have been legal 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They're too busy wasting their time with stupid things. I mean, it is mind-blowing. Folks, pay attention to local politics.
Please.
Pay attention. This is important. My God. I hear the stories. I'm good friends with someone who is a state representative, and she's a great person and trying to help, but most of the people on there are not. So pay attention here. This is absurd that this is after the football season.
Well, it's during the playoffs, at least playoffs.
Well, you'll get the NFL playoffs, but gosh, Ty, think about this.
Trust me, I know.
If Ohio State football season,
I know.
The Browns, the Bengals, the amount of money that the state is because
just off of them three
by the way, Detroit has the only pro football team in Michigan, and their number for a year is $200 million. For a year and a half, it's $300 million. You've got two pro football teams, and you've got Cincinnati and Ohio State, which both finished in the top 10 last year.
Yeah.
Where Michigan, you got Michigan and Michigan State, but I think Ohio could raise even more than $200 million a year, and it's essentially money that's been left on the table. Now, in defense of the legislatures, and I think this is important to point out, there's no infrastructure. So it's kind of like the NIL coming into the NCAA.
Yeah.
If you just drop it in there,
I know,
but now wait a minute.
Yeah,
they had years for the NIL.
They couldn't start the infrastructure until the bill was passed.
But it's their fault that it wasn't passed for this long.
Well, they've been punting that ball down the road forever. Listen, Ohio is still a pretty progressive state when it comes to legalizing sports betting. There's still way more that don't have it. So Ohio, at least on that vein, is in front of the curve, and they should be applauded for that. But the fact that it's taken this long, once it became a bill, once the bill became law, and they had until January 1, 2023, the fact that they're going to use that entire year as a runway
it's ridiculous.
And make it January 1, 2023 just because that's when the law has to be enacted, it just seems like it was a waste of a lot of money. If you get this done before football season, if it's just September 1 to the end of the year, I'd be willing to bet that Ohio would make $75 million.
How much more money could we make with legal marijuana?
It's all a grift.
Totally separate issue, but you're right.
That right
It is all a grift. These people that are in power have consistently done nothing. They don't get anything done. If you announce something, how would it take 2 years to get something done? They too worried about talking to other people doing backroom dealings. The issue is, when you have control over something, think about how many different things we can name that they didn't, we can't get a hold of that. You couldn't get a hold of NIL. You knew that was coming from 2 years. You couldn't do gambling on sports. You knew that's been here forever. You can't do anything about getting these guys from taking money from all these lobbyists. The bottom line is they're enriching themselves. They're kicking the can down the court. And that money can be used for other things. We talk about how we don't got enough. We can't protect schools. You sure can if you got $200 million from sports gambling. How about funnel some of that in? Well, our after-school programs, we ain't got enough for people. You could have some of that money because you could be enacted and stuff. To me, it's all about control. It's all about power. And it's all about people running grifts. It's not about them doing their job to get into office. They're in office to advance their legacy, to advance their bank accounts, and to sit here and act like they're holier out there.
Term limits.
Term limits.
Term limits.
Term limits. You can't be in politics for 40 years. I don't respect you, bro.
Let me ask you something.
Shouldn't be a career.
Let me ask you something, G. Would you, on January 1st, you gonna place a bet?
Now that's this whole different thing. I need my money. I ain't got it. Like I can't be. I always say the quickest way to lose your money is to bet on a sports team. We could always been betting offshore.
Don't bet what you can't afford to lose.
Bro,
Yes, that's the key.
That's true.
I haven't gambled now since April of 2009. I play fantasy sports, which
that's kind of good.
Besides fantasy, I don't gamble. People, you need to be careful.
You struggled with it, didn't
you? I did. I had a major problem with gambling, and that's why I had to quit cold turkey, and I haven't gambled.
Is it hard for you?
Not anymore.
Do you think it will become more difficult once it's this easy?
No, something happened in my brain that I was just able to do.
How long ago was that you just quit cold turkey?
13 years?
It was April of 2009.
Yeah,
so 13 years ago.
I had gone to Atlantic
Kudos
City.
to you, Bull. Because that's not an easy habit to kick.
Thank you. I had gone to Atlantic City. I lost $1,000 that day, which I did not have.
Okay.
Then I played poker with my buddies at my house that night. I lost another $200. I flipped out at the table, kicked all my buddies out of my house, sent an email at 3 o'clock in the morning that I'm no longer gambling. Don't invite me to Vegas. Don't invite me to Atlantic City. And besides fantasy sports, I have not gambled since.
Good for you.
I have not been on a sporting event, a horse, or played cards once since that day.
Good for you.
So people have problems. But I believe in personal choice, gambling, marijuana, other things. Well, I'm not going to go down the road. But I believe in personal choice, okay? So just because I don't gamble doesn't mean other people shouldn't have the right to gamble.
Just do it responsibly.
If marijuana were legal, I don't smoke marijuana.
Right.
I would, if it were legal, I still wouldn't smoke marijuana. Not my thing. I tried it in college, didn't do anything for me. But it's absurd that it should be illegal.
Right.
These things could bring in a ton of money.
Did you inhale?
Yeah, right. I think I did. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Hey, speaking of that, let's go to good bet, bad bet.
Yeah.
This is great for
I was like, for real?
betting segment to this.
Yeah, good job, Mike.
Sometimes it writes itself.
Gambler to good bet, bad bet.
Steve, let's see yesterday's records here. Jay continuing to stay hot, the only one to go 2-1 yesterday. Bull and G, both 1-2.
I should have gone 3-0 if I went with my gut and went with Hedges getting a hit.
The up-to-date records here. Jay catching up on G. Bush. Let's get to today's bets, though. Tyvus, you got to start getting some more games
I
here.
know, man. I got to get the team.
I feel like the guys who aren't on every day should give their picks even when they're not here so they can have a number
So we can
of
keep
picks.
their running total?
That is.
Yeah,
I
the
like
only
that.
issue is sometimes Mike Polk and others don't send picks until very, very late. The days they're on the show.
Mike Polk's 10-2. Mike Polk is 10-2.
He's 12-3 now. He went 2-1
And
yesterday.
I'll
too.
guarantee you this is how he does it. Good, bad, bad.
Yeah.
He just that's it.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, so we'll work on possibility of doing that.
All right.
It's maybe a little more logistically difficult than easy.
Y'all mad at my 60%.
First game today, though. Guardians, 1.5 run favorites over Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm going
we
bad
skipped
on
to the
that.
next
Wow.
one. We're going to the next one. Steve, go back one slide, please.
One slide.
Yeah, I thought I liked that. I said, wait, I thought that was a good
All
bet.
right, me and Jay together.
Yeah, because Ty, I'm telling you, man,
They hot right
they're
now.
for real right now.
They hot.
Boy,
I don't know how
stink.
y'all
Guardians
not.
are inconsistent.
No.
They've been inconsistent against bad
They're
teams.
on a roll though now. They're
I'm about
4
to
out of
say,
5 they've
I
won.
don't know. This is
They just
right
won-
now.
They just blew McKenzie's game 3 games ago.
And they should have won that. They should have been. It would have been 5 in a row.
1.5.
McKenzie lost 2-1.
You don't think
The
they?
Guardians are favored.
I know.
Exactly.
I
So
don't
you
lay
don't think
a
they're
run
gonna?
with a bad team.
So you don't
They won
think
by
they're
5
gonna win?
last night.
They did.
Nah.
You don't think they're gonna win?
No.
No.
Wow.
I think
No
they're-
confidence. I tell you what, here they come. Here they come. June 1st.
I hope so.
June 1st.
I hope
All right?
so.
Nice. What's the next one?
You guys got on me for too many Guardians bets yesterday. We're going worldwide, but starting with some hockey. Rangers, 1.5 goal underdogs. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Gee,
against
you like the
Lightning.
Rangers.
G.
Yeah,
Bush.
I like the Rangers. I took this off Bull. We were talking about Mark Messier back in the back room.
Yeah.
We was talking about the Rangers lifting the cup.
Messier hasn't played in 35 years.
There it
bro.
is, man. I'm a historian of the game.
One of only 2 New York teams I root for, the Rangers and St. John's basketball. Although I'm not a big Rangers fan.
Right.
But I was telling G the other day, when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup. See,
Oh,
here's the thing
that was
about New York
huge.
City, right? It's split between Mets and Yankees.
Yep.
It's split between Jets and Giants.
Yeah,
Now,
but it's all
New York is a
Rangers.
baseball football town, but the Knicks and Rangers, everybody. Now,
Yep.
the Knicks have always been terrible.
Poor Islanders and
They've
Devils.
never won. Yeah, nobody
You know,
cares about the Islanders. Nobody cares about the Devils. Nobody cares about the
It's
Nets.
like minor league hockey.
Maybe the Nets have changed because they're in Brooklyn, but I doubt it. But when the Rangers won the Cup, I was like 23.
Yeah.
It was the most crazy thing I'd ever seen in my life. There were people running in the streets naked. It was Bedlam.
Well, that's
all
New
over.
York on any day.
No. This is that's Manhattan. Manhattan Shore. This is like old school Brooklyn.
I remember the parade. I remember the parade. Someone told me when that happened, they said Mark Messier will never be able to buy dinner in the city of New York the rest of his life.
Honestly,
Absolutely.
I would like to see the Rangers win, but Tampa Bay, I mean,
The Lightning
consecutive years.
I don't pay any attention to hockey.
This would be 3 straight for the Lightning. I think it will be 3 straight.
And by the way, the last team to beat the Lightning in the playoffs, Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, wow.
Good stat by you.
2019.
Look at our African American.
That was Tortorella.
know what I know.
Hold up, because it's a Blue Jacket story. He ain't sleeping on the Blue Jackets. Was that when Tortorella was coaching Columbus? Yeah. And I worked in Tampa and covered the Lightning when Tortorella was the head coach. And they were fun. They just been a fun franchise to watch. All right, last one.
Last bet. We got to move this one quick so we get to our next 2 topics. But we're going really international here. Over 2 goals in the Italy-Argentina.
I'm the only one who knows anything about soccer. They never score in soccer.
No, they don't.
They don't. But
all they got to do is score 3 goals.
That's what I'm saying.
3.
2-1.
It's a friendly match.
2-1.
Games ended ties. So it have to be 2-1.
G. Bush just hit the nail on the head.
Friendly match. They ain't
Friendly.
playing defense
They're
like
not
that.
that friendly.
Nobody's playing defense.
Ain't
It's
nobody
a friendly.
doing
It's like, you know what friendly
It's not
means?
the Pro Bowl.
Here's what when I saw friendly, this is what I said. NBA All-Star game.
No.
Ain't no one there to play defense.
They getting their mixtape game
I'm
on.
going to gain a game on you all on that one. I like that.
All right. Well, look, I'm coming, guys. I'm coming. Last 2 days, I've been taking these seriously for
5-1.
All right, let's talk about our Cleveland Guardians for a second.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez, guys. I was handed this before the show today. I want to read this because it's very rare when you can say that something hasn't been done in Major League Baseball in 20 years or whatever the heck it was. Jose Ramirez is the 26th player in American League and National League history, which I think would be Major League history, to have 10 doubles, 10 home runs, and 50 ribs in his first 44 games of a season.
Do we know the other guys? Is the list there? No.
Well, it hasn't happened since 13 when Miggy did it, Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
So it hasn't happened in 9 years.
Yes.
I think if you would have, and we didn't have this because this was from Baseball Reference, which I love. He also stole his seventh base of the season last night. I'd be willing to bet if you threw that 7 steals on there, that probably cuts that list from 26 guys down to 3 or 4.
Yeah, certainly Miggy didn't have 7
Miggy
steals.
definitely, and a lot of the guys did. And by the way, Anthony, I think, told me, or Mike before the show, McNuggets, he leads the league in triples.
Yeah.
He's amazing, okay? Let me tell you something. When we were practicing the week before the show, I believe it was, when we were doing like some test runs here, I said Jose Ramirez is one of the 5 best players in baseball. And when I say 5 best players, there's a hitter's category and a pitcher's category because you can't compare.
Right.
You didn't stipulate that at the time.
Well, that's what I meant.
You just said 5 best players.
Yes, okay. I'd still say even with pitchers, but it's impossible to compare pitchers and hitters. And even you guys, even you, Jay, one of the biggest Guardians fans I know.
Yeah, you're right.
Wouldn't accept that.
I said top 10.
Yes.
I said top 10.
Now, just because he's off to a great start for 2 months doesn't prove that I'm right. However, what it does prove is that even somebody like you, one of the biggest Guardians fans I know, certainly one of the biggest Guardians fans I know in the media, can underrate this guy. He is the most underrated player in all of the game. It's because he doesn't speak English. I mean, he does speak English, but he doesn't like to speak to the media.
Right.
Not in a bad way, just because he's uncomfortable. All right? It's because he doesn't look like a great athlete. And part of it's because he plays in Cleveland. In the last couple of years, they've been bad, and they're not on national TV. Mm-hmm. And nobody goes to the games and whatever. But this guy is an all-around great player. And you guys were naming some guys, and you were looking at me as if I was crazy.
If you throw pitchers in, and I do, because pitching is baseball.
I think it's 2 separate.
I still don't have him in my top 5 with pitchers.
That's not
fair. But he's a hitter. He is top 5 for sure.
There's no doubt. And by the way, he is, here's one of the things, too, is because some of the guys you guys were naming were like, in fact, one of you guys said, it might have been you, said Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I laughed, and you guys
I
said,
didn't bring
and
him
he's
up.
been awful so far this year.
I mean,
okay? Here's what I'll say about Jose Ramirez. He does it every year. He might not be the best, the number 1 player, but he is at minimum, top 10 every single year. And these other guys, they go in and out. They're great. then they're not. Aaron Judge having a magnificent season. Where's he been the last couple of years? He's been hurt, missed a million games. Ramirez doesn't get hurt. He is always he's got more RBIs than games played in this. I said terrible lineup. I'll say it's a mediocre lineup.
He's got no protection in the lineup.
No protection.
None. And here's what I most love about his game. So I was stunned. I looked this up a couple days ago. I wanted to know why are teams still pitching to him. I looked up how many times he'd been intentionally walked. He hadn't been intentionally walked until last night. Now,
and he was twice.
That's mind-boggling to me, and here's why.
Yeah.
Who's going to hurt you behind him? Nobody. Put him on base.
And let me tell you something else. Jay, he's been unlucky. There's a statistic, you may know this, it's a real baseball nerd statistic. It's called BABIP. Do you know what BABIP is? It's batting average on balls in play. Okay?
Oh, yeah, no,
so
I haven't looked at that number.
It takes away all strikeouts.
Right.
What's your batting average when you actually put the ball in play?
Well, he's unlucky because the shift.
And he's hitting, his BABIP is 260, which for a hitter that good is absurdly low. So he's been incredibly unlucky when he's put the ball in play.
Well, that's because of the shift, though. He hits a lot of balls into shifts that would be base hits.
Well, they shift for other players.
I know they do, but he is the most predictable player as to where he's going to hit the ball.
But if you look at all the other guys, Aaron Judge, the guys who are having great years, their BABIP is way over 300.
It does seem low to me.
It's way low. He should be at least at 300.
So back to the intentional walk thing.
Yeah.
He hadn't been intentionally walked. And I'm like, why? What are teams doing?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to hurt you behind him. Put him on base.
What you mean? Austin Hedges is behind.
So, yeah, way behind him. So last night, what do the Royals do? First at bat, intentionally walk him. Second at bat, what do? Intentionally walk him. This is my favorite part.
Yeah.
His third at bat was in the fourth inning, guys.
Yes.
They decide they're going to pitch to him because now it's 6-2. So what the hell, right? I mean, the game's it's over. So they throw him a first pitch fastball. What does he do? Laces it into center field for a hit. But here's my favorite part. You're going to put him on base? You're going to walk him intentionally? Most of the guys that get intentional walks, they're not Jose Ramirez. They're not going to steal second.
That's right.
Jose immediately stole second base. The message being, you're going to put me on. And now in this case, I know he got on with a single.
Yeah.
But the message is, don't intentionally walk me because just like put me on second base.
Yeah.
And he swiped second base on a good throw from a good catcher and was, it was pretty close.
There's
but
no weakness in the game.
He does not have
And that's what I like about him the most.
Go ahead.
That there is no weakness. I mean, the fact that he does it offensively and defensively, because he's a heck of a third baseman. I mean, the guy is
defensively,
he's an elite hitter.
That's what I'm saying.
He's an elite base runner.
I don't know.
He's an elite base stealer. And I wouldn't say he's elite defensively, but he's very good.
You know what?
I ain't say he's elite. He's very good.
I need five.
Very good.
If we're going to do a top five, or who in the top, I need to understand the context. If you're going to say top five, where is he at in the top five? And I need the other four players.
I mean, off the top of my head, are we basing it based
Just
on
on
this
hitter.
year?
Just on hitter. Just on hitter.
I mean, I would put in no order. I'll just give you the top five. Now, Aaron Judge is having a magnificent season, but I'm not putting him in the top five because he hasn't been consistent enough.
Man,
I'm not basing it just on this
taking
year.
him.
Okay.
I'm taking it too.
So Mike Trout's going to be on my list.
Okay.
Jose Ramirez is going to be on my list.
Oh, Manny Machado?
No Manny Machado. Ronald Acuna is going to be on my list.
Okay.
Did you see what he did yesterday, Acuna?
I did not see yesterday.
Long tossing from the third baseline, threw it into the right field stands.
Yeah.
On a casual throw. I mean, he didn't wind up and let it go.
That's four.
Yeah.
Into the stands.
Juan Soto.
That's five.
Listen,
five.
that's unfair. That's unfair, G. Bush, and here's why. No.
That's how top fives work.
No, I know, but here's why. In baseball, it's so much different. You'll name a top five.
Yeah.
And then I'll go through and I'll look at some players and I'll find five guys you didn't name.
Right. Yeah, sure.
It's very difficult to do
It's not
that.
just about this year. To me, to be a top five player, you have to be consistently good for a number of years. If you're saying who are the five best players at the moment, who having the five best seasons, Aaron Judge is on my list.
Yeah.
But when I look at part of the reason Jose Ramirez is in my top five is because every year he produces in the hardest sport. Hardest sport. Basketball and football may be more physical, but they're much more predictable. Once a player's great in football, does he ever have a bad season?
Yes.
Sure.
Who? Unless they get
Are you
hurt.
kidding?
I'm about to say, really?
How about Jarvis Landry? How about OBJ? That happens all the time.
Quarterbacks don't usually. Once a quarterback is good, they're always good.
No.
Russell Wilson was not.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's had down years. Look, guys have up years, down years.
I'm about to say,
nobody finds a plateau and stays there except for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
We talked about before about saying never. You shouldn't say never.
Right.
But there's much more consistency of high-level play in football and basketball.
I agree with that.
Right? Then there is in baseball.
You know what's funny,
Cody Bellinger was the rookie of the year. Then he was like second for MVP. He's been awful for 3 years since then.
He coming back.
Bull.
He's been okay.
I think the reason for that is people sometimes lose sight of one thing in baseball. On a hitter, what's the first thing you look for? What's the first stat you look for? I know you're different because you're an inside baseball guy. Batting average. I think your average fan wants to know what are you hitting.
Right.
Do this math for a second. If I say you're a 230 hitter, instantly you say,
that's all right.
It's a utility guy. He's not going to change your life.
That's all right.
But now if I say he's a 300 hitter, you say, okay, here's what that means, guys. That's the difference between 23% and 30%.
Yeah. It's not.
The difference between being an everyday average guy, not Austin Hedges, because he's hitting 157.
Right.
But the
He's
difference
a
between
hero. Y'all gonna stop that.
I mean, you got to hit your weight before you get into the conversation.
It's so funny because as a kid, all I looked at was batting average.
I did too. I did too, and now I look at it,
I look at OPS.
There's a big picture that you have to look at.
Yes.
But to me, I think I can bring your point home this way. If you had today a Major League Baseball draft where every single player is available, and you have to take everything into account. Age, position, and here's the kicker. Salary, he's the first guy off my board.
Absolutely.
I take him over.
Go
not pitchers.
Not
pitchers.
Well, but not because if you're factoring in age, he wouldn't go first.
But here's why.
29-30?
Here's why he's my first guy.
Yeah.
Because you can't find another superstar in his class. The Trouts, all the other names you mentioned.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to be $40 million a year guys. $35 to $40 million a year.
Right. Well, Soto right now is not making.
No, because he's on his first deal, but he's going to.
Right.
And you're going to have to pay that.
That's true.
With Jose, you've got a guy that wants to be here. Number one, that's hugely important to me.
Yeah.
Number two, he's done 2 team-friendly contracts. I can't find another baseball superstar that's ever given anybody one. He's now given 2 team-friendly contracts. This second one probably cost him ballpark over the length of the contract. Probably cost him $75 to $100 million.
He's cost himself $200 million between the two.
Over both of them. But this most recent one, probably $75 to $100 million that he left on the table. Why? Because he wants to be here. I want that guy. And I'll make him my first pick over any other player right now.
I think Soto and Acuna would probably go 1 and 2.
Because they're young.
Probably Tatis as well.
I'm about to
really
say
young,
Tatis. That's
but yeah, Jose, of the players 28 and older, he'd go first. No doubt.
The reason I want him going first, hustle, team chemistry. He's just the top step of the dugout guy.
He's what you want your franchise.
Yes.
Your ideal
100%.
franchise guy is exactly
Ideally,
who he
you'd
is.
have him, smile like Frankie Lindor and interact with the fans and the media like Frankie Lindor, who, by the way, was the National League Player of the Week last week, and Jose was the American League Player of the Week.
Stop killing Lindor.
He's coming around.
People got to hate Lindor.
I don't hate him.
I don't hate him.
I'm glad we didn't re-sign him. It would have paralyzed this franchise for 10 years.
Well,
no.
That's the money they refused to spend.
Yeah.
$35 million on one player when our team payroll is $50 million.
We conned ourselves into believing they can't afford to spend a certain amount.
What do we want to do? What the internet's saying?
We got to do what the internet's saying.
Okay, let's go.
Anthony, let's put on our favorite airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 an hour and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com careers to learn more.
There you go.
Airfoil.
PCC, baby.
Airfoil.
PCC.
Airfoil.
That's where it's at. Take it away, G-Bush.
The internet is undefeated. Now, over here they're trying to set you up as if you are a Yankees fan.
What?
Rashawn Hall says, facts, bull, 100. The Yankees always spend money on big bats. That's what I like the Yankees for. Yankees are my second team, by the way.
To be honestly, the Yankees have not spent crazy the last few years.
They're still top. They're top 5.
Right, but they're not. The Dodgers have spent much more than the Yankees. The Yankees have actually been a little conservative financially the last couple of years.
You know what? They've been smart. They've been smart with the way they spent their. They used to just say, he's available, write the check. He's available, write the check.
But I hate the Yankees.
Now they're
my most hated
judicious.
team in baseball.
What's your secondary team in baseball?
The Guardians.
What's your first?
Cubs.
Okay.
I root for the
you did
Guardians
tell me
against
that.
anybody but the Cubs.
Heather says, this is giving me a headache. Lord, can we move on? Heather, what was the conversation? This was when we saw about Deshaun Watson? Yeah, it's probably Watson.
Yeah.
Theodore Hayes says, yesterday you had Serena on for the Cavs. Her basketball IQ is outstanding. Bring her back too. It's always good to have a woman on air who knows sports.
I thought she was
Shout
great.
out to you. I thought she was dope yesterday too. Let's see.
I thought Mike was talking over her a little too much. But besides that.
Fry says, yes, he was talking about the weigh-in, right? And Fry says, that was yesterday. Bull gained a pound. G. Bush was the same, but in shorts. So may have actually gained a bit too.
I think it would have been a wash.
Right,
I think if you drive shorts for the
I lost
jeans.
a pound. He said, nah, bro. See, even the internet.
Dude, I went 20 hours without eating yesterday.
Hey, listen.
So is that your new new strategy?
I went from 7 p.m. 6 p.m. Was Monday night until 2 p.m. yesterday before I ate. And
because of the weigh-in?
Well, that was part of it. But then I wanted to, because somebody told me you got to go 18 hours for it to, the intermittent fasting to really start burning off the bad stuff, the bad fat. I don't know. I don't know.
I will say, I felt so bad for Bull yesterday when he walked in. Our gym is right next door to our studio, and Bull walked in, and the look on your face was like someone just stole your wagon.
I was so upset.
I mean, I was like, I wanted you to come back in here and say, another 13.
Yeah, right.
And I knew that was unrealistic, but don't lose faith, man. Don't lose faith. Bull, you too. I think you got G. Bush, you too. You guys both look great. I can tell you both lost weight.
Yeah, I'm slim on my shoulders.
I think we need to make like a movie.
I'm slim on my shoulders.
I think we need to make a movie where G and I are twin brothers. Like, that would be funny.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That would be a fun movie.
Last but not least, Smart Asses Official says, by the way, G. Bush, I am a girl, not my man. Okay, my lady. There you go. Right?
Wow, so her name is Smartass.
Yeah, like that's
I like her already.
Yeah, she got a little pizzazz to her. I like that. Spicy.
All right, do we want
Browns
more?
trade Kareem Hunt? That's a question that G. Bush brought up, and now we can discuss.
That's where we're going. You want to do it now?
Let's do it now. Leroy's not ready, so let's rock.
Yeah.
So give us the background here.
I don't see what I be doing is I be doing trial things. I just throw it out there and see what people say.
Don't do that. Like, I did that. Hold on, I did that with LeBron yesterday.
We talked about it yesterday, Ty.
I know. Yeah, we talked about
They killing me. And it's not even my proposed trade. I literally seen it.
You did say I saw this proposed
and everybody's like, oh, they talking about I'm on drugs and everything. It's like,
bro, you're right.
It's not my trade.
Why would you want the greatest player in the history of Cleveland basketball on this team?
And it wasn't even his proposal.
It was crazy.
But it's stupid. They accuse him of being on drugs for saying LeBron should be on the team or suggesting that it might happen. That's stupid. But, you know, what's funny is you've talked about on your radio show Kareem Hunt possibly getting traded.
Yeah.
Back, before the offseason technically started in March, I said, hey, Dearness Johnson really showed himself to be a legit player. Mm-hmm. I think it's possible if they want to save money, they could move on from Kareem Hunt. Now, they didn't do that. I don't think at this point they should. They don't. Obviously, they just spent an absurd amount of money on David Njoku.
You know what, though, Bull? If they weren't ready to move on, why would they draft Ford from Cincinnati in the fifth round?
He's good.
But why are you drafting from Hunt? Wouldn't they have already? What am I going to trade him for?
Is it this Hunt's last year of the deal?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
why wouldn't I just play it out with him? You can move on after this. You let him go.
I think if I was,
what if you could get a top-tier frontline linebacker?
What?
For Hunt.
I would take it. But the thing
I don't
is,
think a team's doing
I
that.
think it's the same reason why the Browns drafted the corner in the second or third round, whenever they did. It's because this is Greedy's last year on the deal. This is Kareem's last year on the deal. We need to get that replacement in here because we want to move on. You know, running backs don't last in the league anyways that long.
No, they don't.
You can't afford to pay.
Why? And trade them for who right now? I mean, right now the roster is pretty good right now. And if Deshaun does receive games of suspension, you're going to need two running backs. You're going to depend heavily on that run game.
Do you think, to Bull's point, do you think Ernest Johnson showed enough? He was great in the Denver game.
He was
but we
great,
just haven't seen a lot of
I just think Kareem has that. he's a pass catcher as well, and that part is hard to get rid of. It was like yesterday, I think they said you made a point about Joe Mixon being one of the top backs, and I was arguing with my friend. He was like, yeah, you need to make sure you talk to G. Bush about that because there's no way that he's better than Nick Chubb. And I was actually kind of on your.
He was better than
He said he's one or two.
He said one or two. And I was saying, well, it depends on how you look at it. As a pure running back, if you take in running the ball and catching the ball, yeah, probably.
Well, in today's
Joe
NFL,
Mixon
you have to look at all that
Mixon
and
are
blocking.
the same class of running backs, aren't they?
But Chubb is not catching the ball.
I think he probably could.
He could, but they don't. But and I'm saying I wouldn't get rid of.
Throw the ball to Mixon enough either.
I have Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Taylor in a place, right? And then under that you have your Camaras, your Mixons. Now, and the reason I'm even only
I think Dalvin Cook's in the top group too, and McCaffrey when he's healthy.
McCaffrey,
I stay healthy.
I ain't seen him since Stanford.
Do y'all take into consideration that Mixon was third in rushing last year with a terrible O-line? His O-line was terrible.
I'd take Chubb over Mixon.
With Burrow throwing the ball all over the yard.
Yeah.
So the way I came up with this is my thought process was this: you got Kareem Hunt, right? Now, quiet as kept, he's been hurt the last 2 years. Quiet as kept, like he's missed a lot of time. When you go get a guy like Ford, right? And this guy to me reminds me of like a baby Nick Chubb, but he's a little more shiftier to me. Like then you get Dearness Johnson, who's a one-cut type back who can really do some things as well. It's like if Kareem Hunt comes into camp, say he gets hurt, say he's start off slow. You got 2-3 guys behind him that can get money. Now I would only trade him for a guy if you say, hey, can we trade Kareem Hunt for a defensive tackle?
Yeah, but who's doing that?
I would do that.
But who's trading a starting defensive tackle for a running back?
Nobody.
Well, you don't know. You don't know who
Somebody
needs that
might need a running back.
Who might be looking at Hunt saying,
who needs a running back?
A lot of people. Everybody need two.
I think the thing that makes
nobody's trading for.
Bull, I think there's over 10 running backs in the NFL that changed lives. I really do.
I think it's more than that.
Do y'all think that, all right, this is a scenario.
Yeah.
Do you think that the guy like Demetric Felton makes Kareem Hunt a little expendable?
No.
Because he's a receiver. He's a receiver.
Yeah,
I kind of do too.
But wait a second, guys. Here's the bottom line. Are you trying to win a Super Bowl this year?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not trading Kareem Hunt.
I'm not either.
In theory, if I can get an excellent defensive tackle, yes, I'd consider it.
Receivers
There's no way they're getting that.
You could just sign
It's more comparable. You can get
who's trading a star wide receiver for
here's the
Kareem
thing
Hunt?
on receivers. We've seen this. Isn't Julio Jones available, by the way?
He is, but
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know. He's shot. I think
You're not going to take a flyer on a
I'd
guy
take
like Julio
him
Jones?
Yeah. I would take him, sure. I think the Dearness Johnson thing is for next year. I think he's a quality number 2 back for next year. I think you ride it out with Kareem Hunt, and as you said, you let him go at the end. You're not going to re-sign him.
I don't see why they would.
You're not going to pay.
I don't think the Browns have ever properly used Kareem Hunt. I just don't.
Ever.
It's head scratching.
Guys,
I watched how they used him in Kansas City.
Yeah.
He was one of the 10 guys that changed lives as a running back. He changed the league when he came into the league.
They didn't have another good back.
I know, but if he can be that good as a lead dog, couldn't he still be?
Yes.
As a complimentary guy, I'm looking at him saying there's so much more we could get out of him.
They should put him in the slot some.
I agree with that. That's one of the things that I'm saying.
They don't know. You don't want to put him in the slot?
I like him out there.
slide.
Kansas City used him that way. Kansas City just got him the football.
They did.
Why not?
I mean, you know what? He's a guy that you just get the ball in his hands.
Get him the ball.
He's like a lot of wide receivers in the slot. You
Kareem
just
Hunt
put
and
the ball in
Shelby
their
are
hands and
two
let them make
best
plays.
skill position players.
Their shotgun package should be split backs all the time.
Thank you. I love that idea.
I like that idea
Maybe they
as
will
well.
now.
Why would you not have that in jet motion left and right with these fast dudes? You can do Felton, you can do Schwartz, you can have one guy lead block, you can run the read option, you can run reverses, you can run all kind of stuff. You can even set double screens up. I don't get it. Kevin Stefanski, listen, I got 3 plays. I got some plays.
If it don't matter.
Just
holler at your boy.
Aren't you the assistant general
I
manager?
am the assistant GM. I'm a GA too, and I hold the cards up for the scout team sometimes when they don't got it. I need you to do better with that, man. Because here's the thing. Here's my thought process is this. If you gonna keep him, Use him up.
He
then.
better use him.
Yeah,
use him up.
But he was hurt last year.
Yeah.
So
I
that-
need all. I
He's
need.
been hurt a lot.
I think they do a great job of utilizing
You
both
do?
backs when both are healthy. They both get a nice amount of carries per game.
Can you help me with something? Because we've talked on this show why they don't put the two of them in the game at the same time.
That's the only beef I have.
It's a total head scratcher to me and
Because
to a lot of the guys that have come on this show. I think you've even said that.
Well, I don't know, because for some odd reason, prior to, we'll see what happened this season, but prior to this season, Stefanski has been big on tight ends. I mean, he's been running 13 personnel, which today's NFL, you don't see that at all. But
Right.
So I think that the fact that, I don't know, maybe neither one of them can block that well.
Well, it reminds me a little bit at Ohio State. I don't know if this was an urban thing and it sort of carried over.
We ain't running no fullbacks.
No. I'm saying you never get the quarterback up under center.
Never.
Ever.
And I'm watching
Never.
going, okay, it's 3rd and inches from
Never.
3rd and goal from the 3-inch line.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it was Barrett or
That's
if
an urban thing.
I don't care who it
Never.
was. He's in the shotgun, and I'm like, why are you giving away 3 yards?
Let me tell you right now, when Ryan Day took over play calling, I was watching Ohio State, and I said, I think it was Dwayne Haskins. I said, when did we go under center?
Well,
I couldn't believe it.
We hadn't seen it in a
It was the
decade.
most amazing thing I've ever seen.
know.
Like, they actually know how to take a snap from under
Guys,
center. I couldn't believe it.
I think we got to give them a chance. The offense should be completely different this year with
I
Deshaun
agree.
Watson.
Yes.
If it's not, then can Stefanski's ass out of here. It's really that simple.
Oh, wow.
I can't be.
I actually don't disagree with
You
that.
can't be running 3 tight ends and all this nonsense.
No, I agree with
a
that.
talent like Deshaun Watson in the
Yeah,
backfield.
put your horses
Baker
on
was a
the
guy.
field.
Baker was a guy. He's not terrible. He's a guy. He's just a guy.
Watch this-
Decent player.
watch throughout this show.
Deshaun Watson's a stud.
I like
There was
You
a, there was
Baker-
a
you
lot of
Baker
people
bro
thinking
now?
like,
No, but he's okay. I'm not going to say scrub.
tick on Stefanski. It's
Yeah.
tick, tick, tick on Stefanski.
So
like
June
a lot
1st,
I
according to
don't-
Bull, Stefanski is on the clock if the offense doesn't get going.
Listen, he did a lot of questionable stuff last year.
I know,
So
I agree. I
he
thought
Coach
did
has
this
to
to
adjust
himself.
to the talent he has.
Yeah.
The talent shouldn't adjust.
We gotta
to
go.
him.
We
He
gotta
should
go.
adjust to
McNuggets
the
This
is
is a great
killing me.
conversation.
Yeah.
We have Leroy on. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We're going to get
All right.
Leroy in, and we'll bring this conversation back with Leroy.
All right, let's see what Leroy
There's
says.
Leroy.
There he is. That's my man right there.
There he is.
We'll be right back on the Ultimate
What does
Cleveland
the
Sports
shirt
Show.
say? I want to read his shirt.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. My favorite all-time Cleveland sports moment, you're not going to believe this, it was Rajay Davis's home run in Game 7 that tied the score.
My favorite Cleveland sports moment would have to be the Kyrie Irving 2016 shot. It's the only time that I've ever cried over any sporting event.
And my ultimate Cleveland memory is when the Cavs won the championship and the day of the parade. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3. Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter to you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
Hi, my name is Jay Crawford. I am a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. I have carried my fandom every city I've ever lived in. People have always asked me, why are you so diehard about Cleveland? It's because I'm from here. And we know how much our teams mean to us. Most of us know that because of our parents. In my case, my father was just a huge Cleveland sports fan. It was really part of our life. It was woven into everything we did. And it was our connection throughout his life. All right, we're back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Our man Leroy Hoard. Before we get to the burning question of should they keep or trade Kareem Hunt, what does your shirt say, Kareem? Adam saw it but couldn't read it.
What does that say? I'd agree.
It says I'd agree with you, but then we both be wrong.
I need that shirt. Where do I get that shirt?
That is a great shirt.
Where do I get that?
I don't remember where I got it.
I need that shirt. That's my whole life.
That
motto.
is your whole life. That
Oh
is,
my
and it's
God.
a good shirt.
I can't remember what I ate yesterday, and this dude is asking me, where did I get this shirt?
I need to know.
Hey, we missed you. I want to first tell you that your first appearance here was a huge success. Cleveland fans still love you to death, which I never had any doubt of. So it's great to see you again. But what do you think about this Kareem Hunt talk? Is he expendable? Is he a guy that you have to keep? Where do you fall on this?
I think this. I don't care who you have playing quarterback. I don't care who you have at wide receiver. This team is built on running the football. And if you can't do that, this team will not be successful in December. Period. End of story. Now, all the weapons just make that portion of this team that much more important. So it makes Deshaun Watson's play action unbelievable. It makes the route running of the receivers, and Amari Cooper is an excellent route runner. Not just good, excellent route runner who will create separation. Okay? It gives all those guys one additional step to operate if you can run the football. The success of this team in the last couple of years has been because you had that two-headed monster running the football, and when Chubb was out, you didn't miss a beat. So I would always caution anyone to move away from that, because I don't care what position, you're not going to be able to bring in something that's going to make that much of an impact as Kareem Hunt does on the team, even if it's at another position.
So you're firmly in keep 'em.
Yeah.
That makes
Yes.
sense.
I agree with that. I agree with a lot of what you just said, Leroy. And then I start thinking about, like, the Rams won it all and their running back was hurt. I think about Kansas City has not had a running game. The Bills have not had a running game. Do you don't think that an explosive wide receiver is more important than a running back in today's football?
Well, I mean, yeah, I just heard you guys talk about not using the tight end. but I'm going to tell you like this. If you don't want to ever use your tight end, don't have a running game. Because you can say what you want about Kansas City. Dude is a wide receiver, just a fat one. He ain't a tight end. See what I'm saying?
His numbers certainly look like a wide receiver.
Right. Like, so yeah, he's a tight end. He gonna go to the Pro Bowl as a tight end, and he gonna have all his catches as a tight end. But he always in the slot or running routes, giving the appearance that he's a tight end. They ain't in there. They ain't guarding him to see what his blocking scheme is. They drop him back to cover him. So you just gave a bunch of money to Njoku, who is also a thick wide receiver. Okay, let's not be fooled. Look. It is what it is.
What'd you think of that? What'd you think of that,
Yeah, did
Leroy?
they give him too much
I don't
money?
understand why they paid him that much.
Because you have to find a way to affect every level of the football field, right? And I think Njoku can do an excellent job of manning the middle of the field. And if you can put pressure on each level of the field, what it does is it makes the defense cover every level of the field. The thing with Jarvis Landry was, if you didn't have a deep threat, it shrunk the football field. It made every throw tighter. So if you have somebody that can stretch the field, it actually opens up all levels of the secondary. And that's why you need a speed guy, you need a guy to control the middle of the field, and you need your guy who you can depend on. And I think that's who Amari Cooper will be. Is that a guy who you know he's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to run a great route. You can almost close your eyes and throw it to a spot. He's going to be there.
What'd you think of Leroy, what'd you think of, get back to running back for a minute, because we were part of the conversation with Kareem Hunt was, and you talked about it when Chubb got hurt. Dearness Johnson got his opportunity and he thrived. He played great. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Like, I mean, he could probably start for some teams. He certainly would be a number 2 on almost any team in the NFL. What did you think of him as a running back yourself? What did you think of him when you saw him get his opportunity last year?
Oh no, he absolutely did the job of coming in and filling in a role and taking care of business. If the team feels strongly about him, then you can move on from Kareem Hunt. Okay? But you have to be, when you start making moves, and let's be clear, we all don't think that the Cleveland Browns are that far off. Okay? And you can now make moves to be perfect and you end up hurting yourself. So I don't want to make a move with something I know I have to get something I hope I have.
Great point.
Leroy.
And so from that standpoint, although yes, he came in and he balled. Let's be clear. He can run the football. But can you depend on him like you can Kareem Hunt? Because if Chubb gets hurt and you got Kareem Hunt, all systems go. If the Browns feel, and I'll say this from the standpoint of, I don't know the day-to-day. We just see him on Sunday.
Sure.
But if the Browns feel comfortable with that, that's kind of how you continue to have success as an organization, is that when guys get to where they're going to start making real money and you have a younger guy, you can let that guy go. But if they're not sure, I wouldn't make the move.
Yeah, and you don't know. It's one thing to do it once. It's another thing to do it week in and week out. Because, Leroy, as you know, when you're playing that position, it's like you're in a car accident every Sunday. How will your body hold up when you're called on to be the guy for 5 weeks in a row, 7 weeks in a row, 10 weeks in a row? And we just don't know that.
I got no interest in getting rid of Hunt right
now. Leroy, I want to drill down on this. You said something earlier really sparked my interest. Tyvis said, what the way they throw on the football around nowadays, it's usually the quarterbacks and the receivers. It's about 75% of myself that agrees with that. But there's another 25 that I believe that you can win it a different way. I think that the Cleveland Browns, the way they build up front, the way they got the offensive line and the maulers, I literally think even if they get Deshaun Watson, if they choose to go back to the way they operated under Baker Mayfield with Deshaun Watson in the run game, I think that they would be one of the most dominant teams and a team that can win in a different way by putting the run game first. Do you think a team can win a Super Bowl that way?
In most cases, you most definitely can. Because here's what running the football does. Running the football means you dominate the line of scrimmage. If you do that offensively and defensively, I don't care who you got.
Yeah, you're going to win.
Behind you, you're going to win. And there is nothing that says I am dominating you other than Nick Chubb down your throat. Nothing. You can say whatever you want about the other team, but when Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt got it going, there ain't nothing that's stopping that team offensively. Now, add a different dynamic to it. Now you're going to add a quarterback, a legitimate quarterback, a top 5 quarterback. You're going to add a receiver that is, I would say, just as dependable as Jarvis Landry was. Just in different parts of the field. And you go from that standpoint, but it's always going to start, because guess what? See, everybody thinks running the ball is for September and October when all the grass is green and everybody out there and the women got the bikinis on at the football game and the guys got the little cut off shirts and everybody drinking beer and happy in the sun. The running game ain't for that. Especially in the AFC North. It's for December. It's for January when you got to go and it's 15 to 20 degrees, when it's snowing, when the field is wet and muddy. You got to have something you can hang your hat on. You have
Leroy, isn't the saying the running game travels?
Yep. Look.
Take it wherever you go.
Defense and running game could play on the moon.
Yeah, but
right? That passing game might not be able to operate.
If it's windy,
wait a second.
Wait
a second. I love Leroy and I love the running game. Nick Chubb's my favorite player.
He was preaching.
But let's not get crazy here.
He was preaching.
They paid Deshaun Watson $260 million. They're throwing the ball.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
See, here's where you're off on that.
Okay, tell me.
You think that I'm saying run the ball instead of throwing the ball.
Right.
I'm saying run the ball first to make the passing game more effective.
Yeah, so you
get the
pass
most
the ball
out of the receivers and the quarterback.
But
if you just drop back and throw the ball, he's gonna get sacked a lot. Those defensive linemen that don't have to worry about the run game and they can just pin their ears back and rush the passer, we've seen that show. It's terrible.
We have.
It's a great clarification. I'm glad Leroy clarified that because that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's to establish the run. You've heard that bull a million times.
I'm not saying not to throw the ball.
Of course.
Yeah, you have to establish
the
run.
By the way, if you go back to last year and see when the Bengals, who got to the Super Bowl, their offense took – Joe Burrow's great. Fantastic player. But if you really followed them carefully, when their offense started to really click and take off, it's when they led the way with Mixon and he opened things up for the passing game.
Sure.
That's when their offense clicked. The Browns have that, and but what the Browns have had the last couple of years is an elite running game and a mediocre quarterback. Now they got an elite running game and an elite quarterback, making them even more deadly. And to your point, Leroy, I get what you're saying. And now in the fourth quarter, they can be dangerous with Nick Chubb, who's the best fourth quarter running back in the league, and dangerous with Watson, who is not only a great passer, but also a great runner of the football, making them even more dangerous.
Here's what
Derrick
happens.
Henry's pretty good in the fourth quarter, too.
But, Nick Chubb's numbers in the fourth quarter are the best.
I don't know. I'd have to look side by side. Henry punishes people in the fourth quarter.
Stats department's on it.
It's because
stats are on it.
Get on it.
Let me know.
That's a big body to tackle in the fourth
Here's
quarter.
what happens, though. Here's what happens. Coaches, like all human beings, like new toys, right? Like you say, woo-hoo-hoo, Deshaun Watson. Whoa, we gonna make this work. We gonna justify it. We gonna just be Air Coryell. Right? But you forget where your bread is buttered. Don't forget. Deshaun Watson will have a better season if the running game is still impactful, because that's the way it works. When you look at all these quarterbacks, you can look at all these quarterbacks that threw for 4,000, 5,000 yards, and look at all that. You can go to about 4 or 5 moments in their season where they had to run the ball either in the game or win the game, and they had no running game and they lost. That's what's been plaguing Aaron Rodgers for all these years, and nobody wants to admit it. They want to say, oh, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, he folds up at the end of these games in championships and stuff like that. You know why? Because after that defense done played 57 or 58 minutes and realized they ain't got to worry about the run game, they coming after it. So,
and Watson's never had a running game. And Watson's never had a running game.
When he won the Super Bowl, he had a running game.
No, I'm saying in Houston, he
Watson,
never had.
Not Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying Watson's never had a good. In Houston, he never. Who's his best
and
back?
Guess what?
Nobody.
And guess what?
Duke Johnson.
He threw for 5,000 yards, and they were 4-12.
Hold on, Leroy, because I gotta pause you on that one. They lost when the Green Bay Packers lost in the playoffs 2 years ago. They lost because Aaron Rodgers decided not to scramble.
The last couple of years,
third
had better
No,
running.
he did.
Aaron Jones is a good player.
Was I the only one that looked at the TV and saw the end zone and saw
said
Aaron
run.
Rodgers running, and then he stopped and I was like,
through that, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And
That's on him.
Here's the worst part about it. I love the way we pick and choose who gets the pass. Right? Because Aaron Rodgers had the end zone in front of him.
Facts.
And they said they didn't give him any help. That's why he can't win. I'm like, really? And if that was Baker Mayfield, because guess what? If I forget who it was, Peoples-Jones that stuck the ball out and hit the pylon?
No, that was Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins.
Higgins. If he scores there and you facing Chad Henne to finish that game, we have a whole different outlook on Baker Mayfield.
You aren't kidding.
Well, thank God that didn't happen.
Like, think about that. Here, I'll give you one more.
We just stuck with Baker.
Cause I love how people pick and choose, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But how great of a coach is Bill Parcells if Scott Norwood makes a kick?
Yeah, no, exactly.
He's Brian Billick. He's Brian Billick.
Yeah, well, wow. I mean,
or Mark Levy.
Really? I'm just saying that's the reality of it, is that we pick and choose what those
Leroy,
moments mean.
To that point, the Browns last year finished 8-9. We're in the playoff chase until the very last game. They beat the Super Bowl champion representative from the AFC at their place 41-14. The quarterback just broke that long playoff drought. Played all year injured, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's still a fact. You can't take that out of the equation, and we just ran him out of town.
Yep.
Because we're smart.
It's like, you know
what?
No,
the smartest thing the Browns
perhaps
have.
because you're fickle.
No,
because you're fickle.
Listen, the only thing I had with Baker is that the game-winning drive thing. Anytime we had to have it at
never
the end
came
of the
through with a
game,
big
he
spot.
Can't ignore that.
And that's the only problem.
You're right.
Outside of that, I
balls.
have no problem with him.
Yeah.
But here's
Come on.
the deal.
He had little man syndrome, let's be honest.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Would you feel different about Baker Mayfield if he didn't play last year? You'd be looking forward to Baker Mayfield the next year.
Yeah.
Sure you would.
I would.
Sure you would.
So,
'Cause he's coming off a
he
playoff
hurt
season.
himself.
It don't matter.
He hurt himself by playing football.
No
and
question.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, but-
Absolutely.
And I try to avoid that.
But Leroy, in the end, Deshaun Watson's a great player. Baker's an average player. So I don't care about it. You're right, but I don't care about it.
You know what?
Yeah.
I at no point in time have I said the
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns didn't upgrade.
No, I
by
know.
getting Deshaun
I
Watson.
know.
The question was, did they
Anytime
need
you
to?
have a chance,
Of course they
anytime
needed
you have
to.
a chance to upgrade your team,
Yeah.
you do it.
That's right.
Now it's unfortunate, but guess what? Some kind of way, woe is me is getting $19 million.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm gonna have a hard time feeling sorry, because I know when I was no longer playing and they didn't want me to play for them, they cut me. I got zero. So I'm gonna have a hard time feeling sorry for a guy, even though his situation is unfortunate, that we don't want you to play for us anymore, but we still gonna give you $19 million.
Nobody's feeling sorry for Baker
God.
Mayfield. I mean, if they are.
What about Deshaun? Deshaun, we gonna pay you $20 million. Just don't show up.
That's true. Last year.
I had to limp and crawl into the facility
Real life problems.
just to get my regular everyday check.
Hey, Leroy, I wanted to point one thing out. The video that we rolled in over the last couple of minutes, that's fresh video from today. I want to, and by the way, I want to throw our Twitter handle out there. I want to do that more often. It's at ULT Clee Sports. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, send us messages, do it that way. But when you look at this fresh video we started the program today by talking about the new accuser. Now there's 23 women. And we talked about, does that change things for you? And we also played a little role play. If you're Deshaun Watson, you do what today? Because they have OTAs today. He'll have an opportunity to step in front of a camera if he wants to. What do you make of the 23rd accuser? Does it change anything for you? And what would you do if you're Deshaun Watson today, if anything?
If I'm Deshaun Watson, I don't say nothing.
Nothing.
Like it's the other lawyer's job and responsibility to all the other women to try to put Deshaun Watson in a position to settle. So he's gonna try to get as many women as possible, right?
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know the guy, but here's what I do. As an adult, as a grown folk, right? I separate the art from the artist. Okay?
Right.
And we have a tendency not to do that. I can enjoy Deshaun Watson's work, but I don't know Deshaun Watson to be sitting here passing judgment on accusations. Okay? And as a black man, I'm going to just keep it real.
Keep it real.
As a black man, you always looking for the benefit of it's an accusation and not a charge. So I'm not going to be the guy to pass judgment on a situation that is not finished, that is not done with, and I don't know any of the parties involved, including Deshaun Watson. I know TV Deshaun Watson. I like me some TV Deshaun Watson. I don't know the Deshaun Watson hanging out in the club, or I don't know the Deshaun Watson going to get something to eat. I don't know him. So I'm going to be a grown folk and say, I can enjoy Deshaun Watson, the football player, and if he's done something questionable, not like that portion of it. Because guess what? That's life. That's like, you think in all the years I played football, I didn't come across some unsavory characters? Goodness, what are we doing?
Every walk of life.
And you know, Leroy, I'm glad you said that. I think everybody thinks that if you're an athlete, that you eat birthday cake with everybody. You're at everybody's houses, you buddy with people, you hang out, you know them. Like,
raising their kids.
I don't know everybody on my team.
I don't
and guess
know
what?
them.
I'll tell you one even better. I've been in fist fights with guys on the team. And I say, dude, if I see you on the street, we don't know each other. But if he score a touchdown, I'm going to be the first one there.
Facts.
I say, don't get it twisted. I still don't like you, but you my teammate. That's called being a professional.
Right?
That's true.
Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
We all want a picture. Everybody look for an opportunity to stand on their soapbox. Oh, I'm so much better than this guy.
That's so
no, you're
true.
not. You just ain't been caught up in that situation. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole
So,
lot of virtue
look,
signaling going on right now.
Hey, I'm a grown folk. I'm gonna do grown folk things. I'm as a black man, I understand, what an accusation is, but I don't have to like Deshaun Watson, the individual. But I need to love Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. When those two things start affecting one another, then we got a problem. So if all the off-field stuff affecting how you play quarterback,
It's great.
now we need to have a conversation.
So, Leroy, let's take this to a broader question. Charles Barkley once famously said, I am not a role model. And I know you're saying separate the artist from the art. But you also have to remember there are a lot of 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old boys and girls that are watching the Cleveland Browns. And you know that there tends to be a lot of idolatry. They look at these people like they're more than just football players. Where did you fall on Charles Barkley's I am not a role model? Because I know a lot of athletes said whether you want to be or not, you are, so you better embrace it. And then a lot of other athletes said, I didn't ask to raise your kids. You be your kid's role model. I can be his football hero. You be his role model. Where are you on that?
I live my life. I try to be a good person. I try to be a stand-up guy, right? But I'm human. I'm going to have situations like everybody else. If anybody thinks that real life don't strike. Just because you're a football player don't mean you don't fall into the statistics of life. Okay? And so instead of going at the athlete, how about you talk to your kid and use it as a teaching moment?
Well
Right?
said.
Anytime my kids see something on TV, right, and they come ask me about it, I try to talk them through it, to explain to them what is good about that and what's bad about it. I'm not going to all of a sudden blame a situation I see on TV for the reason why my kid acting up. Right? That is your job. Now, if he should happen to look at an athlete and say, I want to be like that guy, right? Then the parent got to walk him through the things that you can, be like that guy and the things that you need to stay away from. I don't understand. Look, if somebody looks at me and say, hey, I want to do it the way he did it, that's fine. But I'm not doing it because kids are watching. I'm doing it because that's who I am. And if it should inspire somebody to play the same way or work the same way, then that's good too.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily my responsibility to go out. Because look, we all come from different backgrounds, right? People have been through some stuff in their life, and they finally get to this point. I'm not going to then penalize them for not picking it up quick enough to be a professional. There were people that had patience with me. So I'm, going to look at a 22-year-old or 23-year-old and think that. Like, man, what were we doing? We were 22, 23 years old. Hell, when I was 22, 23, I ended up doing 3 days in jail for a speeding ticket.
I was going to ask you,
You
to
know
tell
why?
that story.
Oh,
Tell that. Leroy,
So-
tell the whole story because
right.
it's unbelievable.
How could you be responsible and an idiot at the same time by Leroy?
No, guys, this is a great story.
My rookie year, I got a 300Z turbo, and the weather was about to change, so I knew I had to get my action in this nice little car soon before that snow hit. And them roads get all crazy. So I set my alarm for 1 a.m, just a regular night, and I took that 300Z on 71. And I was going, and I gunned it, and I was going. I was like, boy, this is great. Whee! I felt like I was in NASCAR or something, right? So I look in my rearview mirror, and I see some lights. I say, oh, snap, something must be going down. Let me pull over and let them pass.
No, you, bro.
You were going down.
They was coming after me. I didn't know. So they pulled around me, like 4 or 5 cop cars pulled around me. Get out of the car. I'm like, uh-oh. I said, I could have just got off the highway and been done. But I stopped thinking I'm being responsible. So they pull over. One guy gets off. He said, do you know how fast you were going? I say, no, officer. I had both eyes on the road. Which a couple of the cops found funny, but he didn't. I got a ticket. I had to go to mayor's court. The mayor, it's a long line. It's weird how it works. Mayor's court, you just line up. They just shoot you through. So the guy before me, he had his 5th DUI. He go to jail for the weekend, county lockup for the weekend, didn't go to work. I'm like, oh, okay. So he done had his 3rd DUI. He just for a year, he got to go to jail on the weekend. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I go up there. He said, the mayor, I don't even remember who it was, I can give you 10 days. I'm like, 10 days? The dude just had his 17th DUI. He just go to Club Med for the weekend. He said, 3 days for being a smart ass. Look, after we played Cincinnati in a 3-13 season, when everybody wanted to get up out of there, I had to go prepare for lockup for 3 days.
Oh man!
And I stayed in the little county lockup for 3 days, and that was it. So when people ask me, "You ever been to jail?" I say, "Yeah, I did a stint."
How fast were you going?
They got papers up. And wait, here's the worst part.
Yeah.
There was 100 cameras outside the jail when I went in. And I'm like, for a speeding ticket? Get a life. And
you know how media works.
Wait, but how fast were you going? Do you know?
You said, what are you doing? I say, I'm being 23. I'm sorry. I thought I was being responsible. I wasn't drunk. I haven't been drinking. I set the alarm for 1 a.m. Hopefully there was no traffic. I said, can I be any more responsible while doing something illegal?
I know. See, when he first told me the first time he told me the story, he said that he set his alarm clock at 1 a.m. because he wanted to make sure that the highway was empty.
Right.
He didn't want to put himself at any more risk than he needed to, or any other drivers.
But how fast, Leroy? Did you ever know how fast you were going, or you really didn't know?
Go ahead. It was well over 100.
Yeah. Let's just say.
Yeah.
My last thought before I saw the little blue lights was, I might be able to get this to the red line.
Oh man.
It wasn't. Look, I'm not proud. Look, I'm not proud of that moment, but I was being 23.
I think you should be proud of that moment. That's cool that you almost hit the red line. I once did 100 in a radio station van 20 years ago. So that was during the day. That was much less responsible than you.
Did you get 3 days in jail?
No, I didn't. I didn't get busted.
The thing about it is, when you're an athlete, everybody feels they have to use you as an example,
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, okay, eventually I'll grow up. How old you are don't determine how grown you are.
Man, isn't that
I know
true?
a bunch of 50-year-old kids, but for some reason, when you play a sport, you all of a sudden supposed to be grown and responsible. Like, no,
it's tough.
So,
it's tough. And you're given a lot of money and a lot of free time. And you're 23 years old. What the hell do they think is going to happen?
By the way, guys, there's something egregious that was in that Deshaun Watson video of the action from today that none of you have brought up.
The hat.
He's got a pom-pom on his hat.
I know he does.
First of all,
I know.
What's with the pom-pom?
It's 90 degrees out there, and he's
wearing a pom-pom hat.
He's wearing
He wore
a
that
winter
in the
hat.
first practice too, by the way.
All right, it's cool, but it wasn't
on the hat.
90 for the first practice.
They don't get it. They don't get
Explain
it.
it.
It's about fashion.
It's a young.
It's a
thing.
young.
Y'all,
First of
I don't
all,
care
y'all
about
are
the hat.
aging yourselves.
I don't care about the hat. I'm talking about the pom-pom.
That's the same
that's
thing.
exactly what.
Pom-pom's cool?
Yeah, it's been like.
How do I not know this?
It's been for like the
you
past
notice
6 years.
it's two guys
now.
that have a full head of hair.
That's true.
Right.
Well, I don't know about a full head. I'm balding on top.
Hey,
It's 90 degrees. I'm not wearing that hat.
The young boys out there. That's that young.
You ain't young.
The young boys out there moving like that. I don't got a pom pom hat in here.
Pom-pom. I wore pom-pom hat when I was 8.
I got a pom-pom Guardians hat. I wore it this winter.
Wear your pom-pom hat?
Yeah.
If that's what you want to call it. I call it a beanie.
Yeah.
Leroy, do guys from Michigan wear that kind of hat?
Yeah, and when it's cold.
Tom Brady wears one all the time.
I bet you he wouldn't try that down here.
Yeah, probably not. Not Miami.
We'd be pumping them full of Pedialyte and electrolytes.
Well, hey, listen, it's 90
It's
degrees
hot down here.
and humid today. It's hot. Well, are you going to stick with us?
Really?
Do top 5? You want to do that? I love today's top 5 list. McNuggets will screw it up, but I love the subject matter of
No
today's
chance
top
he
5.
gets this right.
No,
chance.
this one was tough. There's a couple caveats, but first we have to talk about our favorite insurance provider. The Ultimate 5 is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care for more than a decade. Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of up to 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money too. Shout out to Roundstone. And first and foremost, guys, a couple caveats here.
Roundstone.
Yeah, let's cheer it up, Roundstone. Let's get a little Roundstone chant.
Yeah, Roundstone, baby.
Roundstone.
We love us some Roundstone.
All right, here are the caveats. None of us are included.
Okay.
Leroy would be on the list. Jay would be on the list.
Course
So
not.
none of us are included.
Right, of course
Second
not.
caveat. One person per sport. We'll do individualized lists, best football guys, best basketball, baseball, but this was one per sport.
All
And
right.
it's former athletes turned broadcasters.
Now, are you asking, like, the best broadcaster then, or the combo, like, star athlete, star broadcaster?
No, nothing to do with how good they were as a player, right?
Yes, some are really good players. Some
Okay.
didn't have great careers. These are athletes who turned broadcasters based now on their broadcasting.
And is it all kinds of broadcasting or only doing games?
It's a mix.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, there's so many alleys this could go. But
Yes.
Let's start with number 5 here. Steve, pull it up. Sir Nick Faldo.
Oh, he is tremendous.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
he's been knighted.
Yeah,
Not
you're-
many people can say that. He is
You're right.
Sir Nick Faldo. He's been CBS and Golf
I
Channel's
don't
lead
watch
analyst
golf.
since
You guys watch
2000.
golf?
I do, and he's tremendous.
Yeah,
He's
all
as
right.
good as it gets on
He
golf.
brings the audience
He
into
is. He's a
golfers'
little-
minds better than everyone else.
Go ahead, Leroy. What
he
do you
has
think?
that English arrogance about him, right?
Yeah, he does.
You know what I mean?
No, I know. It does.
Like,
I thought all golfers were arrogant. Like, isn't that just part of the
no,
sport?
no. But English, like if you remember Colin Montgomery, they all have that. Like, it's not that they're arrogant; it's just the way that they say things.
You know what?
It
It's
gives
the same
appearance of
thing.
that.
Someone from the South, you know,
assume they're
with a
dumb.
strong Southern accent, people are like, oh, you know, he's an idiot. No, it's
Right.
just his
Well,
dialect.
I
The same
got
thing
that
with
when
the
I
English
first went to
accent.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
that
because
when
you
I
came
first
up
went
there
to
from the
Michigan.
South.
Yeah, the real South.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, there's 2 levels. There's the South, and then there's the real South.
And it is real. You're from New Orleans,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
New Orleans. All
Yep. I would say I was a bigger fan of Johnny Miller
Oh, I love Johnny Miller.
because I like the way Johnny Miller would throw himself under the bus too. Nick
Yeah,
Faldo would never do that.
No, Nick's too buttoned up and proper. Johnny Miller
Right.
is great. Johnny Miller was tremendous. I can't believe
Johnny Miller would say, hey, if I could putt like that, I'd still be playing. Right? Like he'd throw stuff out there like that. So
you're right.
A lot of people didn't like Johnny Miller, but I was a Johnny Miller fan because I always I'm always real fond of analysts that can also acknowledge what they did in the sport.
You know what? He was real.
You have too many.
He was real.
You have too many former players that analyze sports that act like they never did it, and that is so easy.
Yeah, right.
Why
You
is
see
that?
what I'm saying?
I don't.
And because I think, you know what I think? I think that the one thing, if you played, I think people want to understand the difficulty of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Not what the guy did wrong, but more like why he did it wrong.
Sure.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
And a lot of times they're quick to point out what the guy should have did differently, knowing that there ain't no way in hell they could have ever did it.
Right.
I always have a problem with that.
Faldo did win 6 majors, though.
No, I know.
No. I'm not talking about Faldo.
He's not talking about Faldo specifically, but others.
He knows what he's talking about. But I'm saying when you start talking about football, and you have guys, them fringe guys that all of a sudden are, analysts, and you hear them talking about players and stuff, and I'm like, wow, dude, man.
Right.
Are we calling out Dan Orlovsky here? Is that who we're calling out?
Dan Orlovsky.
You know what I'd say to Dan? Every time I talk to Dan, I say, man, I'm having a hard time believing you. You didn't even know how long the football field was. How we going to have a conversation? He's the guy known for going down in the back of the end zone and not knowing.
Yeah, not knowing what he just did. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4, college basketball. Jay Billis. He tears the NCAA to shreds, which I appreciate him taking a stand and going against the institution he covers. He's also been nominated twice for Best Studio Analyst by the Emmys, 1,000-point scorer in college, and he's been the lead ESPN studio analyst on college basketball since 1995. And he's tall. That got to count for something.
He is tall. He's
Jay Billis is
so
really
smart. He's a lawyer in his day job.
He's awesome.
Yep.
Big fan.
He's brilliant, and he's so good at what he does.
Good choice for college.
Yeah, that is.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that on the list.
Yep.
You down, Leroy? You think that's worth it?
Yep, I'm good with that.
All right, good. What's number 3?
Moving on. Tony Romo.
14-year
NFL career, Pro Bowler.
I can't stand
Listen,
Tony
he got
Romo.
hired by CBS, immediately promoted to their number 1 spot, bumped everyone else on the
Phil
roster
Simms,
down.
see ya.
He
Phil
didn't earn
Simms,
it.
back to the studio, Phil.
Back to the studio. And he just got $17 million a year, which is the highest paid TV analyst in football history.
No,
at the time.
no.
Not anymore, but
until
at the time
Tom Brady
it was.
starts.
But that doesn't make him good.
But he is good.
I think he does a great job.
I do too.
Like when you look at it, he be the one that be like, they're gonna run this, and that, and they gonna run that. Like
that's how he made his money.
That is
I feel
right
like,
there.
I
every
feel
time.
like he comes into games not prepared enough. Like,
He's
he doesn't
not
know
your
the
traditional
players.
color guy.
I
He's
give
not
you
your
that.
He
traditional
doesn't know
color
the
guy.
rules, like
He
some
knows,
basic rules.
but he knows the game, Bull. He does. He knows today's personnel.
Doesn't every quarterback?
He knows
every
tendencies.
football
Leroy, what do
player
you
knows
No.
the game.
Hold
They
on, let's go.
don't.
Leroy,
Here's what I want from my analysts, right? I want the football perspective, and I want to get an idea or maybe learn something that I didn't know about what's going on.
make me smarter.
And Tony Romo does that. He gives an excellent explanation of what's going on, what could happen, or whatever. Him, being a prognosticator is just a bonus. But having him break it down, another guy you got to consider, and he's been doing it for a while, is Chris Collinsworth.
It's tremendous.
I like
Also-
him.
I like him.
He's got a closet full of Emmys for what he does.
Very, very knowledgeable. You learn, I like watching games, and there's things I can pick up, I can pretty much tell you what's going on during a football game and break down a play and do all that stuff. But you like to hear other guys' perspective from other parts of the field, and so Chris Collinsworth was a wide receiver. So he does a lot of stuff with tying the pass rush with the secondary, and how they pick up the different levels. And so I like watching that. But for the most part, those two guys, there's some other guys. I would tell you who would be really good at it, but he doesn't want to be overcritical, is Peyton Manning.
Well, you bring him up. He's number 1 on my list. He is.
Did not get the nod for football on my list.
He's number one on my list. The Peyton Manning, the Manning cast on Monday nights is the greatest, the most innovative thing on sports television since the first down line and watching football games. They've changed how you watch a big Monday Night Football game. But
because here's the deal.
Go ahead.
He's not tied to any. He's
huge.
not tied to anything, and he doesn't have to do it a certain way. Him and his brother can just sit there and just
That's
go
what
at
makes it so good.
And,
He'll say something sucks if he thinks it sucks. He's not afraid to do it. And there's very few guys that have the resume that can walk in there and do it. But he does it in a way with humor, and he's self-deprecating throughout the broadcast. But your point about he's beholden to no one. All these other guys are paid for and approved by the networks and the league.
Right.
Peyton's just doing his thing in a sound booth. And for my money, I watched more Monday Night Football games last year on the Manning cast than I did on the actual team.
Too many interviews, but I like.
I know you didn't like all the interviews. I like them if the game is not close.
Sure, yeah.
And I have also said I can't watch a Browns game on the Manning cast because I watch differently when I watch the Browns.
And Eli is under the radar really good too.
Wicked funny.
Yeah.
Wicked funny. What's your number two?
I like Eli more than Peyton on that show, but I also love Eli. He's my favorite athlete of all time. That's why Peyton didn't make it. Number two, we're going to go college football.
Whoa.
That can't go without being.
Hold on, Leroy.
Go ahead, Leroy.
What's up?
I know. That's what I say. Favorite athlete of all time.
I grew
Eli
up a Giants
Manning.
fan. He gave me 2 Super Bowls.
Look.
Wow.
That's
wow.
He played quarterback. But calling Eli an athlete is a stretch.
I do think I could beat Eli in a 40-yard dash.
So he's not an athlete.
Which furthers my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is
favorite athlete.
How about you call him your favorite football player, your favorite quarterback, but favorite athlete?
Athlete. There you go.
Yeah.
I say he's that.
Hey, man, don't let them.
That's how you get.
Hey, man, don't let them bully you.
I'm just saying. Athlete. Wow.
Athlete is a measurement of athletic ability, running, jumping, dexterity. Eli's not an athlete.
Listen.
Another day for that argument. Number two.
Number two. It's Kirk Herbstreit. He is my single favorite football analyst. He's so good at what he does on the college level. Amazon just poached him to be their color commentator for Thursday Night Football. And guess who they tagged him up with? You heard of the guy? Al Michaels,
Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit.
And then in response to that, ESPN gave him a contract extension. He's the best football analyst in the game, college, pro. He's number 2 for me, and he'd be number 1 if number 1 in my mind wasn't solidified.
I still like I like Gary Danielson. I like Gary Danielson.
Danielson is off the radar, but sneaky good.
Gary Danielson is really good. I think Herbstreit's a great choice. My beef now becomes that he put golf on the list and not baseball. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't seen any baseball guys yet.
We'll talk about this after we get to number 1.
All right, let's get to number 1, and then we'll. But I know Tyvis loves Herbstreit.
Go Bucks.
Herbstreit's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a big fan of Herbstreit.
I love Danielson too, but Herbstreit's the best.
You know what?
He's a great guy.
Read his book too, by the way.
And he's not afraid to criticize Ohio State.
No,
he's
definitely
a fine mix. He's a fine mix of doing what he has to do to explain something, even being critical, but not overdoing it to where he's standing on his soapbox giving suggestions as to what should happen.
And you almost never hear him say, when I played or I once did. Like, doesn't take it there.
By the way, if Eli Manning's not an athlete, getting back to that for a second, then no golfers besides Tiger Woods are athletes either.
Well,
golf is a skill.
Yeah, golf
is a skill. It's not a sport.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, number 1. I can't wait to see. I've got 5 names down here. You haven't mentioned any of them.
No matter how we configured this list, would have been my number 1. He's the best personality on the best sports show on TV. Not us, on real TV.
Sure.
Charles Barkley. 4-time Emmy winner for Best Studio Analyst. Entertaining, confrontational. It is impossible to watch inside the NBA without leaving with a smile on your face, and Barkley's the best of the best.
Did anybody see the clip, though, that went viral on social? They were doing a game in the playoffs from one of the arenas, and one of the fans was giving him grief.
Yeah, and he turned around
and he said, "Shut up before I have to do something to your mother."
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, anybody else that is a career-ending injury, you are fired on the spot. Anybody else?
Yeah.
But you know what TBS did? There goes Chuck again. There goes Chuck.
He's the best.
But I will say this about Chuck, and their crew is good. Ernie, He delegates.
He's the traffic cop.
Shaq and this underlying energy between Shaq and Barkley is crazy.
Their love-hate relationship.
And Kenny gives you a unique perspective from a point guard.
Kenny's actually the best analyst on that show.
Yes,
he is. But I think you're onto something. I think that is the best sports show on television, bar none. I don't even think there's a close second. It's embarrassing to me to watch ESPN and their NBA coverage because it is so bad compared to what TBS does. I wouldn't even want to be in the business of NBA broadcasting if I wasn't at TBS because everybody else looks so pale in comparison. Leroy, do you agree with Chuck as the top broadcaster, former athlete turned broadcaster?
I do, but I think the whole dynamic of those four guys is what makes it. Like if you had Chuck without Charles or Chuck without Kenny, it would have a little bit of a different feel to it.
No question.
They all complement each other really well. You turn that on, you want to hear your basketball stuff from Kenny, and you want to see Chuck and Shaq go at it. And at some point during every broadcast, you're going to hear Chuck say, "You ain't got no rings."
That's exactly right.
He always busts his chops with that.
I mean,
right.
it is such a great show. It's such a great show.
I think my favorite show was the one where they kept interrupting Chuck. I mean, kept interrupting Shaq. He said, no. It's supposed to go 1, 2, 3. Not 1, 3. I need to get a turn. I'm like, wow. Shaq, come on, Shaq.
It's a great dynamic.
You should see how we do in our show.
Yeah.
It goes Bull and then Jay. And then Jay, then Bull. No, play.
Poor G. Bush is just watching tennis. Boom, boom. Hey, on the broadcaster front, because I know that we kind of all agree that that's the best show. I'm going to throw some other names out there, and I think we all have some. Just quickly, we don't have to comment on all of them. Pat Summerall, to me, was the OG. He was a player, and then wasn't an analyst. Homeboy was
but he's a play-by-play guy, though, right?
He was play-by-play. And, by the way, for my money, the best ever to do it. How many times did you just hear this? Troy Aikman. Emmitt Smith. That was his touchdown call.
The best ever to do it in football.
In football.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
You know what's funny
Less
about
is
that?
more.
Crazy.
The funny thing about it is there's a few guys that, as kids, you knew the voice.
Knew it.
Yeah.
Pat Summerall, Keith Jackson, right? There's certain guys you just know that when they do a game, it like you're gonna enjoy the game.
Yeah, you're right.
And Pat Summerall was definitely one of those guys. I mean, I think the OG of getting big money had to be Madden, right?
John Madden, no question, because of the video game.
I like Dan Fouts a lot back in the day.
Fouts was good.
And Bob Trumpy.
Frank Gifford. John Smoltz in baseball, I think, is tremendous. I think he does a great job. I used to love Tim McCarver. And Peyton Manning is my number one.
I like Tim McCarver when Deion got him.
Yeah.
You remember that situation with Deion?
Yes, I do remember that situation. Google it, kids. Tim McCarver, Deion Sanders.
Yep. Get him up out of here.
McCarver was great. Why in the world would he throw a fastball in that situation? Always second-guessing the pitch selection. So good, though. I miss his call on the big World Series games. Yeah. Other names? You guys want to throw any out?
Keith Hernandez.
Keith
Ron
Hernandez
Darling
is good. Okay.
Is really good. Baseball.
Tyvus?
No, he named
Kurt Jackson.
Yeah, Herbie's the dude.
And Brett Musburger, he never played now.
You guys remember Bob Trumpy? Remember Bob Trumpy?
Of course, Bob Trumpy.
It would be Don Crickey and Bob Trumpy.
They did all the Browns games back in the day.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite, before we let you go here, Leroy, your number one favorite former athlete turned broadcaster to listen to?
I would say, you know what? I'm gonna stay with football, and I'm gonna probably say Collinsworth.
Yeah.
Simply because I've seen him for so long, and it's something about a guy that, you know, can do it year after year after year because people grow tired of it.
Sure.
Right? You get tired of a guy that has an act, you know, and he's been able to do it for so long that yeah, it's just I always enjoy watching games that he does.
It's a good call.
I'm okay with Troy Aikman too, but it's a little different dynamic. You know what I mean? It's like Troy, like it's almost like those two are having like a conversation, and Joe Buck is kind of leading it with the opinions.
Right.
You know,
right.
Troy Aikman really doesn't give a lot of opinions, but he's really smart.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I would
That's
go
the one
with Chris
thing
Collinsworth.
Aikman isn't strong on. He's not real critical. Doesn't offer a lot of
right.
Where Collinsworth
like it's
will.
okay. Look, you know what? It's the problem is that we live in a society now. If you critical of somebody, you a hater.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
And so people try to avoid being critical because they don't want it to mean they don't like the guy.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
so
right.
lame.
Hey, man,
you're right.
My whole life I've had to be accountable. And then when I get done with football, we done with accountability?
Yeah, you're right.
We done?
Right.
Nah, we good.
I'm going to put
wide
honorable
receiver
mention.
get 2 catches?
We good.
I left out one name. Honorable mention on my list, LeRoy Hoard.
There you go.
That's honorable mention, brother.
Hey.
I think you're tremendous. You are tremendous as a broadcaster.
Steve Lyons, Joe Garagiola, some baseball.
Oh,
back
wow,
in the
that's old
day.
school. Joey G. Yeah.
And how about Walt Clyde Frazier? He used to do Knick games.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Loved his suits.
Yeah, he was great.
We got to go. Hey, LeRoy, awesome catching up. You're with us now every Wednesday.
Yeah.
That is such
Every
great
Wednesday.
news for Cleveland sports fans. Every
ready.
Wednesday on the Ultimate Cleveland
We
Sports
ready.
Show. LeRoy Hoard,
Yeah.
thanks
See you,
so
buddy.
much for joining us.
Yeah,
Great to see you
bye,
again, my
man.
friend. And drive the speed limit,
All right.
damn it. We're taking a break. We're coming back with final takes on the other end of this. Stay with us.
That boy Leroy.
Hey, it's Adam the Bull for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'll tell you what I think of when I think of Cleveland sports. It's that everybody loves it. I've been to other parts of the country, and there's people that love sports and people that don't care. But in Cleveland, everybody cares even a little bit from every walk of life, and that's what makes this city special. Whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, it doesn't matter. The people of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio love their teams like nowhere else in the country.
Seeing, knowing, and understanding Northeast Ohio is something we take very seriously.
Because in our connected world, what happens in one community can have an impact on others,
Leading to difficult challenges and opportunities for reflection and growth.
So, for in-depth analysis of how today's top stories affect you, your family, and our communities across Northeast Ohio,
Join us for 3 News at 6.
so you know what matters most.
When you watch Front Row, you never have to ask what's going on in Cleveland.
It is our job to get you up to speed on the latest news and events so you can enjoy all our city has to offer. We are bright, bold, and all about the action.
Whether you're a diehard Browns fan, waiting on breaking news, or searching for a special event for a weekend away.
Our hometown has it all. So join us. We're waiting for you. Front Row, weeknights at 7.
Cleveland sports to me is bigger than anything. It's bigger than some people's marriages. They say the Dallas Cowboys are America's team. No. Dallas is not America's team. Cleveland is America's team. And sports in Cleveland is a religion. It's a way of life. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. Sports is a way for people in Cleveland to get together, and it's something that can't be replicated in Cleveland. Sports is a thing.
It's everybody's favorite time of the show, not because we're going away, but because we get to give our final takes. Personal opinions, hot takes.
Yeah.
Bull, you're up.
You know, I'm so obsessed with our new show that we are now starting. This is the start, well, not yesterday, it was the start of the 4th week of the show. How obsessed am I with the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show? I'll give you 2 examples. Number 1, on Monday, it was Memorial Day, I actually said to my wife, man, I wish we were doing a show today. I know Jay was out gallivanting on his fancy boat, doing whatever the hell he was doing. But I was thinking, man, I wish we were doing a show. And then it got worse, took it to another level. I woke up last night in a cold sweat. Why? Because I was dreaming about the show. Yes, in my dream, Mikey McNuggets, our producer, was living in this building, which is kind of true.
I think he does live here.
He was living in the building, except he was staying in a room. It was kind of like a dorm room, but it would look more like a hospital room. And that's where Mikey. And I walked in to see Mikey McNuggets crying in my dream. He was in his hospital room in this building, and he was crying. And I said, Mike, what's going on? Why are you crying? And his answer to me in my dream was, because Jay is going to do the entire show singing today, and we have to get him to stop. And I said, well, let's go talk to Jay about it. And then I woke up in a cold sweat. That's how much I love this show, that I'm dreaming about it.
You never have to worry about me singing on this show.
That idea is being stricken down
That is
right
so
now. Jay
bizarre.
will never sing the entire Ultimate
To
Cleveland
the point
Sports
where
show.
it made him cry.
The whole show.
So bizarre.
Yeah. Things you'll never have to worry about for 1,000.
Boy.
That's it.
G.
That's
Bush.
Hey, man, I was...
Just thinking about that is terrifying.
I don't even got nothing like that, man. You know, I was in a grocery store, man. Shout out to Giant Eagle, man. But let me tell you about this, man. These people that be in these self-checkouts, man, you got to watch out for the new self-checkout scam, bro. The new self-checkout scam is devastating. I was out there, it was just me, myself. I was going out and said, man, I know I got me some fuel perks saved. I know I got me some. You know, I be saving them. I don't never redeem them at the cash register. You wanted to redeem $35? No, I don't want to redeem off the food. I pay for the food. I need the fuel perks. Gas is $15 a gallon right now. So I go through my thing. I'm scanning my stuff. I'm racking it up. And a nice old lady says, sir, yeah, I don't have a Giant Eagle card. And you know, to use the self-checkout, you got to have a card. So I said, oh, no problem, no problem. Let me go ahead and swipe you in.
You get her points.
No, well, I swiped her in. My points were supposed to be intact. I go and check my stuff out, right? I go leave. She was fumbling around over there, still scanning her stuff. I said, man, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and leave here and get me a little gas and be cool. I don't even want to do it in the morning. You know how I be in the morning. Man, I get to this gas pump. This like 5-10 minutes later. I get to this gas pump. You have 0 fuel perks.
Oh, no.
You have, I said 0. I tapped it, dude. Hey, you put my wrong stuff on there. You got the wrong card on there, bro. I just said I got 0 fuel perks. It was like, no, sir, this is exact. Please get out of here, too. And do you have a mask? You have a mask, by the way, because we're going to go to mask like tomorrow. I said, you going to make me wear the mask and I lost my fuel perks? I said, what's going on here? And I remembered. I just flashed back, just instantly went back, and it was boom. Remember that lady that was fumbling and you scanned your fuel perks? Got me. I know she got a full tank of gas off that one.
How did she get your fuel perks?
Well, listen.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
So when you scanning, so say for instance, when you go in, you can scan. Now remember, you can either use your fuel perks to pay for groceries.
Oh, she used your existing points to pay for her groceries.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, Bush.
You see how
that is a rookie mistake.
It all came together.
My God.
See how it's coming together? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the gas station. The gas station right by the get-go, you know it's the same thing.
Yeah.
She was like, hold on. I can take this amount of money off?
Old girl's eating Twinkies on your points.
She was, listen, I was like, she taking real long to scan them groceries.
You should have known. You got taken.
Wow. Always watch out for the Giant Eagle swiper, no swiping.
You know what, though? Your Karma credit card got some good points put onto it.
Hey, man, you know, she got it.
I don't have a Giant Eagle
Maybe she needed it more than I do.
You need one, Bull.
I
Maybe
usually
she
shop at
needed it.
Heinen's.
Man, I'm telling you can save some dough on gas. And
I use
now
my
it's
credit card. Of my credit card, we get like points.
You can do that too, but I'm telling you, Giant Eagle fuel perks they're the real deal.
Doesn't Costco have cheaper gas too? If you're a Costco member,
I don't know.
I got Costco. I haven't
because I'm
used
not
the
by a
gas
Costco.
yet.
There's not one near me.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would definitely
Costco gas.
try it.
All right, Tyvis Powell, you're on the clock, brother.
Well, I've been on this show. This is like my 4th time being on this show, and I'm remiss because I haven't spoken about my wife and my kids. You know, obviously I had a kid May the 3rd of 2022.
Yeah.
My second daughter, Milani Jo Powell, and I already had a daughter named Leiliana Marie Powell. But I just want to take the time to say thank you to my wife for allowing me to even take this show and be a part of this show and be amongst these great guys. going through pregnancy, obviously I'd never be able to go through pregnancy, but I watched you do it, and I watched you deal with your body changing, your back constantly hurting, and you never complained about anything. You took it like a soldier because you seen that it was something that was inside of you that you love, and it was much more important than yourself. And for that, I respect you and I love you so much, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life was making you my wife. Wow. And I appreciate you for giving me 2 beautiful kids and blessing me with a beautiful family. So I love you, baby. Thank you, Lauren. Love you to the moon and back.
That's my favorite final take yet, right there. That's my favorite. And he just got a lot of perk points at home.
You done messed it up for me. Yeah, babe. I got you next
all
week.
All of us. Yeah, I love you, honey.
Next week. The final take, I'm going to get you,
Yikes. No, hey, listen. And let me echo all of our sentiments. We're blessed to have you on our show. We found you to be a tremendous human being. Your takes are hot and right on.
Thank you.
And I think that we're lucky to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate
and your family is lucky to have you.
I appreciate
I said to somebody recently that I don't know how long will happen because somebody's going to scoop them up.
I don't know about all that.
And by the way, doing this show is a commitment for all of us.
Yeah.
But it's different for you.
It is.
You're getting in your car
2 hours.
and you're driving 2+ hours from C-Bus.
Hey, man, but you know what? It's the
to
best
do this
drive.
show.
I get to see y'all, man, and we just have so much fun.
Well, we're glad you do it.
That's right.
And we hope you never tire of it because we love having you on this show. All right, so my whole final take is centered upon a simple premise. Live in the moment. Since the advent of these, we've all forgotten that. And I brought as Exhibit A a picture. And, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. McNuggets, Stevie, if I can see that first picture, I want you to look at this picture.
It's amazing, yeah.
Everybody in that picture except one person is watching Tiger Woods' golf swing at the PGA Championship on their phones. Look at them. Every person that you see in that photo has their phone out, except for Mark, who's living in the moment, holding a Michelob Ultra. And here's my proof that good things can happen to you if you live in the moment. Roll this a 15-second commercial done by Michelob Ultra. Joy is living in the moment. Take it from the Mick Ultra guy.
That's awesome.
15-second commercial. He's got an endorsement because he was living in the moment. I always chuckle when I see people at big events experiencing the moment of those events on a 2x5-inch screen.
Blows my mind.
How many times? I always see people shooting fireworks with their phones.
Or at a concert. What is the
How
point?
many times do you go home and watch the fireworks
None.
on that screen because they suck on there? But they're awesome in real life.
Yeah.
This weekend, I saw a family of 4 having lunch by the pool. There was 2 young kids and a mother and a father. I witnessed them for about a half hour. The husband and the wife, the mother and the father, spent the entire half hour I was there, both of them glued to their phones. No conversation between one or another, while the 2 young kids who did not have devices were living in the moment, laughing, smiling, having fun. And it made my heart bleed because the parents weren't present. They weren't. They were in their own little universe on their phone while their kids were making the most out of life without a phone in their hand. We've all become, and I'm just as guilty, trust me, we've all become slaves to this. I try every day to spend less time looking at my phone and living life in the moment, particularly when you're around family and loved ones and friends. The memories are locked in there. Yeah. They're not going to go away. You don't need to put them on a phone so you can see them again. So live in the moment as much as you possibly can, particularly when you're around your loved ones, because as we've seen way too many times, no one is immune from having it all come to an end at a screeching halt without warning. So enjoy.
Yeah, in my house, we do no phones at the table
That's
when we're eating.
That's a smart rule.
And I've started, like when we go out to dinner now, because we just started going out to dinner in the last month, I don't even bring my phone with me.
Yeah, it's very
Unless
smart.
I'm expecting something important call, but that's very
Or keep
rare.
it in your pocket in case there's an
But
emergency
a lot of times I don't even want to bring it with me because
Yeah.
I'll have if it's with you, you have a tendency to just look at it in a down moment.
You're right.
And you got to spend, I feel bad. Sometimes I'm sometimes at home we're working at home.
Sure, never
right?
stop.
And I don't want to, like, my son's like, Daddy, can we do this? And sometimes I'm like, I just want to sit in front of the computer. But I'm like, I make it a point, even at times when I don't want to play with them,
be present.
To be present as much as I can.
That's why, Ty, I didn't know what your final take was.
To tell you the truth, I didn't know what my final take was about 5 minutes ago.
Well, you couldn't have made a better choice.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that message came before mine, because I have no doubt in my mind that you are going to be the all-pro father that you were as a player and that you are as a person.
Thank you.
And I don't think we can hear that message resonate enough. It's examples that we all can set individually. When you have children, it's the most important commitment you make in your life. Jobs come and go. Sometimes your spouse comes and goes, but your kids are there forever, and you've got to be present with them. And I love to hear you say that they're such a big part of your life, you wanted to shout them out. They're lucky to have you. We're done. We're back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Aditi's back, which we love. She's here every Tuesday and Thursday. Browns' best roster. We're going to ask if this current Browns team is the best one they've had ever?
That's part 1 and part 2. You'll find out part 2 tomorrow.
Okay, because, once upon a time in the Jim Brown era, we had a pretty damn good roster.
That wasn't what the
They were
question
playing
was
against
supposed to be, but now
Come
we
on
could
now.
double it up.
I love when you say that. They all did have jobs in the offseason back then, but that didn't make them any less fierce. They were warriors. Out of time. Back tomorrow at 1. Have a great day. Enjoy this beautiful weather. It's supposed to rain later, so get out and enjoy it while you can. We'll see you tomorrow at 1.
No rain. I got a game tonight.
Yes, and good luck in your game tonight.
Thank you.
Good luck in your game. Going for 2 wins in a row.
Yeah,
There we go.
Get it.
Let's get it.